Happy to. So today we have four sessions. There's session 1 and 2 will be all 8 national experts will introduce the PPT. And also the order of those national experts will be chosen randomly by the chief expert. So whoever can be giving the presentations on maybe session 1 or session 2. So she will choose randomly. And between the session and 1, 2, we have the break for 10 minutes. So you can have a break. Then after that, after session 2, there will be session 3, and which will be given by chief expert, Professor Arasho. So she will give us her PPT and also the suggestions and comments as well. And last session 4, there will be all about the administrational issues of the research. So before we start, we have to take also the group photo, but now we are waiting one candidate, one national expert to come. So let's wait them, and I would like to call the chief expert, Professor Arasho, as a moderator. So she will moderate session 1 and 2, and also session 3 as well. So good luck to you all. And if you have any questions, welcome to ask. And if not, let's start. Thank you, Mr. Arasho. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to meet you again. And I was thrilled to read the reports. So I've read many of the reports. I've gone through all. I've given detailed feedback. I will send all of this after this session within the week, and I will give you some common feedback that I have in the time allocated to me as well. So we will now start with the national expert presentations. So to start off with, I would first like to invite Dr. Chinda from Cambodia to present her findings. And you are given 15 minutes to present. So I will remind you, I will time and I will remind you in 12 minutes or so. So you can wrap up within 3 minutes. So we'll stick to the times. Yes, from Cambodia, Dr. Chinda, you can start, you can share your presentation and start your presentation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, Madam, could I prefer for the next section to be present?
Sorry, next one, is it?
Yes.
Okay, okay, then we will then go with Ms. Ilyas from Dr. Ilyas, Noshin Ilyas from Pakistan. Would you be able to present?
Yes, I'll be able to present. Just let me share my screen. I'm sorry, I have a bad throat, but I hope I am audible to you.
Yes, you are.
Can you please let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. I'm just trying to go. Yes, please let me know if my screen is visible to you.
Yes, it's visible.
So here today I'm going to present some of my findings on research on the Women Power Index in agriculture, particularly in the context of Pakistan. First of all, in general about Pakistan and agriculture, Pakistan is an agriculture-based country. And in this country, our main GDP depend upon agriculture. And we have a large area which is under the cultivation in agriculture, and we are among the top producers of multiple crops and fruits. And there's a great diversity in Pakistan, particularly when we are talking about the climate. We have also some issues in agriculture, like food security and population burst. Along with it, Pakistan is among the countries which are very vulnerable to climate change. So all of this, it is just to introduce you that the agriculture is of vital importance in Pakistan, and it is also vulnerable to a lot of challenges. Now, when we are talking about Pakistan, its economy, it is the agriculture, it is contributing 24% in the GDP, and more importantly, 37.4% in employment. And when we are talking about the GDP, the women, they are accounting for more than up to 20% of, 40% of the agriculture GDP. But in Pakistan, the other important issue is that most of the population that is living in the rural areas, 61% of the population that is belonging to the rural areas. And this female employment, it is a very high percentage, that is 66%. And their women are involved in agriculture, but as we know that this research is based upon the women empowerment in agriculture, but the women are not as much empowered as they are contributing towards the agriculture. That is a main issue in Pakistan, particularly for the women empowerment. And these are the previous studies which were obtained from the various published articles. And this issue in the women empowerment, it has limited agriculture productivity, the gender imbalance, and also has caused some societal complexities. So based upon this background, we defined this research. The main objective of this study was to analyze the background and the contextual insight in the Pakistani women involvement in agriculture. Then we studied the Pakistani women involvement, particularly in decision related to the agriculture production, and also upon the access to and decision power, where we are talking about the production and control, and also over the use of income. We also tried to study the women involvement in leadership and decision-making roles, and how this agriculture activities, they are affecting the time and the woman work pressure upon the woman. And at the end, we have tried to suggest some policies and programs for effectiveness and for overcoming the barriers which are related to the women empowerment. So this study was based upon the idea that the inclusive and sustainable farming practices, they depend upon the empowerment, and this empowerment of women in agriculture would affect the community development. But as you know that I'm coming from Pakistan, and Pakistan is a kind of conservative country. So when I did try to go for my best for this study, but there was some limitation, particularly when I tried to interview the women upon the cameras, they were not much comfortable, but along with it, the women are not very open due to the social barriers and traditional behaviors. The women were reluctant and to talk particularly about the research, and along with it, the women sometimes they even did not understand the question, and even when the things were very evident, they were very, you can say, they tried to cover up the answer, and they were not very open about the answers. And along with it, the education, or you can say literacy, it's also a very big problem in the rural communities. So sometimes there was an issue in the language, the ethnical languages. Along with it, there were issues in communication. So we sometimes had to go for some women which were more educated. So that also, we thought that might lead to some biasness in our representation of the educated minority. All of these constraints, along with that, the women, they are very busy. They have the domestic work, they have the agricultural responsibility. All of this, they were not very much involved in answering all the questions. So along with it, the linguistic and cultural barriers. But in spite of all this, we have tried to work our best and to provide as much accurate and inclusive information about the empowerment as possible. So when we are talking about the Pakistan, these are the administrative areas of Pakistan. The Pakistan is divided into 4 provinces: Punjab, Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan. Then we have a capital, that is Islamabad, but we also have 2 affiliated areas with us. These are the Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. These are the various information about the population in Pakistan and the various about overall the country and about the various provinces. Then next thing was about the selection of the sample. But before going into this, I would like to mention over here that the Punjab is the main agriculture country of the country. Punjab is the main agriculture province of our country. Along with it, we have the Sindh, then we have the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and in the end, less agriculture is being done in the Balochistan. And based upon this, we went for the sampling, and we had more interviews from the Punjab. We went for 4 interviews from the Punjab. And then from the other countries, from the other provinces like Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Azad Kashmir, we tried to have inclusive interviews from there, and we had 6 more interviews. They were spread from the other region. These interviews gave us a variety of agriculture contexts, that what are the women doing in the agriculture, what they are doing in farming, what they are doing in picking, home-based farming, water management, crop cultivation. When there were 2 parts of this research. We had to do some interviews from the women who are doing work in agriculture. And along with it, we were supposed to have some interviews from the experts. For the experts, I targeted those people who are working in the government organization, which are working in close association with agriculture, like the Agriculture Extension Department and the various other organizations which are working for agriculture improvement in this country. This is, if you look at this, I have tried to put upon these areas from where I have tried to go for the interviews on this map. So where you see the people are the symbol for the person, this is the people which were interviewed, the women agriculture. They were interviewed from the various parts of the country. Wherever you see the kind of building-like structure, that is where these are the institutions from which we went for the experts. These are some of the female farmers which were interviewed during our research. These belong to the different countries. These belong to the different areas of our country. And along with it, these were some of the experts which were interviewed for this survey. Then after having all these detailed interviews, and we try to go for some recordings, we also try to go for their detailed interviews. We try to write down all the information based upon the questionnaire which were given to us by the APL. And based upon this, we went for some of the results, and these results, they showed that these women in Pakistan particularly, they are performing their role. They are participating in all minor and major reform operations, and mostly women are very hardworking. They are working from the sunrise to the sunset. They are not only doing the work in the farm, but they're also doing a lot of work in animal husbandry. They tend cattle. Along with it, they are doing the most of the household activities. They are the responsibility of women, like to fetch the water, to gather the wood for the fire, and along with it, even the women are providing food to the men who are working in the field. So these women, they are working, also assisting the men in various aspects of the crop production, from the soil preparation to the post-harvest operation. If in my detailed interviews and visit, I have seen that the women are doing every kind of work in the agriculture field, like preparing the seed beds, planting, fertilizer application, cutting the fodder, cleaning, threshing. Most importantly, the women, they are doing more work when we are talking about the drying and storing the grains and fodders, and harvesting the fruits, vegetables, and other produce, and they're even doing the role in their story. The people store the food in their homes. People even sell the food at the local vendors, and the women, they are doing their role in all of these agriculture activities. The next question was upon the control over the use of income. We come to know that though women are playing a very important role in earning the income within their homes, but as you know that we are coming from a society which is a male-dominating society. So this patriarchal system, due to this, the women, they are not very have the freedom to go for their financial decisions. Most of the decisions, they are being done by the men. Like if a woman is selling some food, some crop or some other produce to some vendor, the vendor would be giving the money to the man of the family rather than the woman of the family. So the men, they have more access to these financial resources, and along with it, there are some other issues along with this male domination. That is one of the important issues, the low mobility. Here, the mobility of the women is not considered very much safe, so they don't move around much places. like they can't travel to any nearby places mostly. So it's mostly the males of the family which are moving around and they're gathering the income. Along with it, literacy is a very important issue. As I have told you that most of the people, they are coming from the rural background and they do not have much access to the education. So this illiteracy, along with it, this illiteracy also leads to the financial illiteracy. It decreases the women independence, particularly in the rural areas. When coming to the next thing, that was the leadership in community. As this women, their voice, they do raise the voice, their voices, but not given that much importance as it should have been given. Because the most important thing is the men, they have more access to the resources. Like I was surprised to come to know that even when we are talking about the land ownership is less for the women and land ownership is more for the men. Along with it, the control to the various finances, even to the inputs, these are all restricted by, we have a deep ingrained social and cultural restrictions, mobility, participation in decision making, all of this. And another important thing is that what I have come to know is that women, they are having less time because they have a lot of duties. They are not only doing the duties in the labor, but all along with it, in the Pakistani system, women are doing everything at their home. All the domestic duties, they are mostly considered as a responsibility of women. So all of this, it leads to less time with them for the societal interactions, for the decision powers, and also for the money-related issues. Along with it, the women, they lack the formal education, their training is less. As I have just told you, that they have very less time to participate in community engagement. All of this, it leads to the underrepresentation in agriculture and political decision making. And also all of this, it results into the vulnerability of women for being exploited. The most important issues that time used for the agriculture, the women in the rural areas, they spend their time upon the agriculture and all of these activities like planting, harvesting, processing. They're also doing all the household works, including preparing the meals, cleaning, taking care of the children. And it leaves little time for them for leading any agricultural directions, community decisions, agriculture training, and all of this. This prevents the women from the skill enhancement and or being involved in the policy process. So this disproportionate allocation of the time, it not only limits the women empowerment, it limits their independence, it limits their decision-making power, but it also restricts their potential, which can contribute or lead in the agriculture advancement. Because what I am telling you is that women, they are in direct involvement in the field. They have the first-hand experience, and sometimes their voice is heard by the men in the family, but ultimately the decision is being done by the males. And sometimes the males, they are not that much involved in the agriculture practices. This leads to
Dr. Ilyas, you only have about
Yes,
1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes left. If you can quickly wrap up.
Okay, fine. So these are some of the things which I think they can enhance the women contribution in productivity and well-being. Most important is the education and capacity building. And we can focus upon the agriculture knowledge, financial management, literacy, and all of this will result in the women empowerment. Access to the input is very important, like access to the, I have just told you, to the financial loans, to the land, to the seeds and technology. They should be provided opportunity. And most importantly, they should know about their rights and their legal domains. Most important, what can be done by all the NGOs and the government is the policy and legal support. Systematic barriers, they can be addressed by the laws, and also we should have the policies for the promotion of the gender equality in agriculture, and these regulations should be implemented. And there should be some technological and technical inclusions. Women production should be increased by providing them services, integrating them into the digital platforms, into the agriculture markets, mechanized equipments, and all of these various innovations. The women are very good learners. So if we provide them with more trainings, they can perform better, and even we would have less cost as compared to the present scenarios. And we have to. Okay, this is all. These are the various interviews which we conducted, and thanks.
Dr. Yeah, time is up. Do you have without maybe just show the other
Okay.
slides? Just quickly take us
Okay.
through. You don't have to explain, but just quickly go through.
This is the thematic flow
Proceed.
analysis, which we done for this research. And this was the
Okay.
video link for the various interviews. And these are some of the performers, the interviews, they were guided and there were comparative analysis were done. And these were from the experts. The details have been already provided to the APO. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that presentation. I have actually gone through your reports and given extensive detailed feedback, and I will talk
Thank you.
about this when I have get the time later on also. Just one point that I want to clarify. In your second or the third slide, you mentioned that 79% of the women are disempowered. So
This
that
is from the background. No, this is when we were asked to go for the first part of the work. That was
Yes,
from the
yes, I
background
know.
information
Yeah.
already published.
Yes,
That was
I
from
know.
there. That was,
Yeah, so what was the, so was there a study from which you took
yes,
this?
yes,
Okay,
yes. That was
okay,
obtained from a study available on internet.
okay,
That are
okay. Great. So I have made for the need of certain references in the reports,
yes.
in many reports, I will.
I have mentioned.
Okay.
I have written those detailed references in report also.
Also, yes. So just to clarify, I didn't see this in other reports, but just to clarify for others, while you said that one of the limitations was the fact that they were scared of the camera and they were not really willing to, share their ideas. So it's not needed. Actually, you have taken photographs, but it's not really needed that you take photographs and, because it will actually, make the comfortable, but you've done it. So it's done and over with. So there is not, you can't go back on that. But for others and for future learning, it's not needed that you take photographs. They can remain totally anonymous. Yeah. So
yes,
that
okay,
they
fine.
be free to talk. So, okay. So shall we move on to the second presentation? So second presentation would be Dr. Chinda, Cambodia. Dr. Chinda, are you okay to present now? Okay, in the interest of time, shall we move on to another presenter then and give the opportunity to Dr. Chinda later on? Shall we go with the report on Philippines? Lee, I hope I'm pronouncing.
I'm sorry, but I'm still downloading the file.
Okay. How long would you need? You
2
want to go
minutes.
later on?
I'm sorry, 2 minutes.
That's fine.
Yeah, hold on.
You-
Mr. Kiran from India raised the hand.
Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah, I can give my presentation if
Oh,
time
okay,
is
okay,
up.
then we'll go with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So again, you have 15 minutes. I'll jump in after about 12 minutes and
Sure.
remind you of the time. I will be timing once you start your presentation.
Sure. I hope my slides are visible.
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all in my presentation. So I'm here to present India country report, some of my preliminary findings. coming to the context, I will present based on the reports wise section. So I'll briefly talk about the context of the background of our economy. Indian economy is basically regarded as one of the fastest growing agrarian economy among developing nations. So our country's GDP is estimated to grow at a rate of nearly around 9.7% rate during 24-25 last financial year. We have India is also known for fifth world largest economy with GDP. The constant price is estimated to be around 184 lakh crores, and the per capita income of our country is around $2,480, and the country has a geographical area about 328 million hectares, and the agriculture is India is agriculture is backbone of Indian economy, and the total area under agriculture is around 219 million hectares, and with food grain production around 309 million ton. And India is home for now we have become a world largest populous country globally, and with around 1,408 million population, and the life expectancy is our country is around 69 years, where female have a little bit more life expectancy, that is around 70 years, whereas male around 68 years, and the literacy rate is around 73% overall literacy rate of the India, and in this case the male have a little bit higher literacy is around 82%, whereas female has around 62%. As I said, agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy. It plays a very crucial role in ensuring food as well as nutrition security of millions of the households, and the country has predominantly rainfed farming. So around 63% of area is under rainfed agriculture. That contributes more than half of the food production in the country. So this sector contributes around 16% of GDP, agriculture, to the total GDP of India, and it provides a livelihood to around 58% of total population. So still depends on agriculture. So we are, world largest producer of some of the commodities like milk, pulses, spices, as well as we have also, exports in terms of globally. Our exports is around $7 billion US dollar, and it has been increased to 49 billion in 2023. And agriculture share from total export is around 10%, and import is around 4.7%. So coming to our main topic here, so coming to the status of women participation in agriculture. So we found that women's contributes a stable contribution to the agricultural labor force. So we can see the left side of the diagram, the distribution of rural workforce in agriculture. The women contributes around 75% of labor force to the total workforce in the agriculture, whereas over the period of time from 2009 to 2023, we can see there is a slight increase in the labor force contribution, particularly by the women. Share of women is increasing, whereas the share of men in agriculture workforce is on the other hand, it is showing the declining trend. So this is mainly because mostly the men, they are maybe the outgoing, the migration is happening in agriculture, and in case of operation holding, in terms of we can see in the right hand side. So there is a steady increasing the female operation holding in the country, according to the census of 2010-11 and 2015-16. We can see there is a increasing operation holdings by the females, but that mostly the operations, the small and marginal farms, they are owned by the women, whereas the large number we can say there is a slight improvement increasing in the large holding size. So mostly dominated by these female operation holdings. They are dominated by the small as well as marginal farms. Coming to the statewide scenario, the Andhra Pradesh state has my highest female number of female number of operation holdings, followed by the Bihar state and Karnataka. There is significant heterogeneity in the operation holding is owned by the females. So lowest case in case of we found there is a Sikkim. So overall around 2,439,000 operation holdings were owned by the female. This is the overall country scenario as well as the state scenario. So coming to the gender-wise labor participation, so as you can see, the share of cultivators, primary cultivators, both men and women has been showing a significantly declining trend. In 1991, it was 40%. In 2011, it was decreased to 24%. In case of women, also the 39% to 24% overall, particularly as a primary cultivators. So in sharp decline was observed in case of marginal workers. workers, we can see around 50% in case of women too. It has came down to 21%. So there is a significant concern that their role has been shifted towards from cultivators to agricultural labor. On the other hand, situation of agricultural labor is different. You can see the marginal workers, the share is significantly increasing. In case of man, it has been increased from 31 to 46%, whereas women, it is showing an increasing trend, that is 41% to 50%. So the marginal workers has been shown is increasing trend. The most of the, there are shifting in the jobs from agriculture to non-agricultural trend. You can see in case of other workers, the men, 37% to 47% has been increased, whereas women 14% to 29% of women share has been increased from non-agricultural activity. So similarly, in case of particularly marginal workers, the 28% to 32% is, as well as 5.7% to 21%. This shows us there is a significant shift in the role of the labor forces. So coming to methodology, so first we did a review of systematic review of literature. For that, we used different keywords like gender, agriculture, ownership, and managed to search the database, particularly Scoopers. So the time period was around 2010 to 2024. So we restricted to Indian country. Then it was identified 188 articles, then out of the which around 27 articles were considered for the final analysis. So we did the thematic analysis. For that, we used the software NVivo 15, and for the analysis, we included 27 review articles, research papers, as well as responses from 13 women farmers, as well as 3 experts also we have included. Then additionally, we have also performed a word frequency query to see where the most frequently used terms, particularly research articles. So primary survey, for the purpose of primary survey, we selected the Himachal Pradesh state for this study, because Himachal Pradesh state has a slightly a different context. Although India is at 28 states, and 8 union territories, so Himachal Pradesh is mainly the women farmers share is around 37%, with state around 54% state participant in particularly economic activity. So and this state is known for recently the natural farming is quite promotion has been doing this particular state. So women farmers are mostly there practicing. So we selected purposefully for this state for this particular studies. Both we have collected the experts, 3 experts from the different organization in national international organization like IRRI, State Agriculture University, as well as the government institutions. Coming to the our the preliminary findings, the findings from thematic analysis. So this is the hierarchy chart. The highest bar indicates the most. These are the issues addressed in this context. So decision making, then participation, access. These are the important themes that arisen during the thematic analysis. Then employment, income, ownership, education. Mechanization, then social relations, empowerment, training, and climate adaptation. These are the very important themes that have been arisen during this analysis. Then coming to the word frequency, the most frequently word used in the women research, particularly agriculture role. So we found that in agriculture, then development, household information, then mechanization, so cultivators. These are the important keywords used for the particularly for the research, mostly by the research scholars. Then coming to the year-wise concurrence of keywords, we the in-depth studies mainly surrounding around the agriculture, gender, empowerment, then women, the agriculture, labor. These are the keywords. I mean, year-wise in-depth studies has been scope has been broadened in this area. So coming to the right-hand side, the authors that particularly use the climate change mitigation, intersectionality, women farmers, inequality, poverty, empowerment. These are the keywords basically authors used. Coming to the socioeconomic status and decision making in agriculture. So women play. Sorry, I'm having a little bit cough. Women play a very important role in various stages of agriculture productions, as in initial as we explained that in from sowing to harvesting and as well as post harvest, women play very pivotal role. But the decisions are mostly the male dominated decisions, like particular cropping pattern, then the input selections, and marketing. They're all dominated by the male farmers. So, however, the women have significant influence on the livestock management and food retention, how much food has been has to be retention, how much food has been marketed. That has been, decision has been mainly this role has been taken by the women's as well as the crop allocations. So some decision they are jointly women involved in the joint decision, but mostly we can see there is a male-dominated decisions are more prominent. So for this, socioeconomic factors they play a very pivotal role, particularly when participation and human the resource access as well as decision-making power. So some of the factors that hinders the decision-making is the inadequate access to information, technology, credit facilities. So these are the some of the important factors that hinders the decision-making. Then the decision-making is also it depends on the nature of work the women are taking as well as the type of farming system that women's influence the decision-making. Coming to the this is the right-hand side the graph. This is from the primary survey. So we plotted in terms of socioeconomic status of respondents. So in that we found that mostly the majority of women are married, around 75%. And 80%. Then mostly they are raised between 30 to 50 women farmers, and their education is on mainly on secondary educations they have. Then coming to the state-wise participation of men and women. So in terms of agriculture, around 22% of women are participation in all over India. 22.3% of women are participating in agricultural and rural activity, whereas men around 34% of women in particularly rural areas. So among this, in case of men, around Gujarat state that is around 45%. That is the highest participation of male in agricultural activity, around 45.8%, followed by the Karnataka, UP, and Bihar. In case of women, as I said, we have selected for the Himachal Pradesh for our study. This is the reason, 46% of women, highest share is from Himachal Pradesh, followed by the Rajasthan and other states. So in terms of sector-wise participation, also around 13% participation overall, 13% of women are participating in crop-related sectors, whereas male again here dominated, around 28% of males, they are they participate in crop sector. So the states which are highest participation rate,
Excuse
that's
me,
mostly because, yeah.
Kiran, excuse me, you only have about 4 minutes. So
Yeah,
it's
sure,
better
sure. I'll
to
just
move
so
on
this
to the findings and
yeah, sure. So
quickly.
these are the so then coming to activity wise, so mainly we found women are mainly participated in planting and crop harvesting and vegetable picking. So then participation also depends on different crop wise we have seen. So mainly they are livestock. They are mostly they participate in livestock and fodder and vegetables crop wise. Coming to time allocations, time allocation for agriculture. So role of here most of the women around 40% women say that they try to prefer in forenoon, and 20% says that they time prefer best for them is morning. So they're coming to the role of women in decision around 80% the women have they told that they have play a very pivotal role in household decision, whereas farming decisions only around 60%, and livestock decision they have the highest, around 90% decision is taken by the women. Coming to access to decision power, for the resources, still they, despite of their contribution, they found a significant barriers and for owning practical resource. So around compared 70% of reports, only 13%, as I said, only operation is owned by them. So because of social and legal barriers mostly, and as well as caste system, so that is play.
Kiran, you have 2 minutes more, only 2 minutes more.
Yeah. I just run through the slides. Okay, these are the status of the land ownership of women. Then coming to difficulties, there are certain difficulties like access to resources, then financial constraints, then social and cultural challenges. Mostly they are faced by the women. Coming to leadership in the communities, despite of contribute, they have, there are cooperatives, their role is very limited. Women-led in our country, only 2% of total cooperatives is women-led. But still government efforts are being doing. As of now, we have 9 million, self-help groups with around 100 million women members. So NABARD we have also have some women-led exclusively for FPOs. Coming to the society and their barriers, comfortable, there some women, there is a mixed response. Some women say they are very comfortable, but their satisfaction is some highs are very low. Coming to time use, in case of men and women, the agriculture engaged around women engaged around 3.9 hours per day agriculture, whereas men around 5 hours. But the other parameters like leisure, then self-care, where men has more time, whereas women has less time. So overall, agriculture, the men has a total time for use is women has more compared to the men. Coming to the state-wise, there is a significant disparity, we can say heterogeneity in time used by vary depending upon the crop and coming to the allocation of different work component. So time allocated around agriculture is around 40% and rest the household and children. So around 80% women they told that they have enough time to household and agriculture, whereas around 50% they show that there are enough leisure time for personal time, and around 60% shows that they doesn't have satisfaction with time allocations. So this is the barriers and challenges, mainly the lack of skill.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
time
so.
is
So it's so. This is
yeah.
last slide. This is last slide. So this is some of the barriers, challenges faced by the women in agriculture, mainly cultural, social barriers, economic as well as independent decision making, work type, mechanization, access to resources. So these are the some of because yeah, thank you. This is my preliminary findings of studies. Okay. Suggestions if you have. Happy to.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
this,
you, Kiran.
because this need a little bit more time because this we have to explain that why it is because until unless we are we couldn't explain properly, it's very difficult to understand them. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So it's 15 minutes that was given for each
Yeah, sure.
presenter.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have made detailed comments in your report again.
Yeah, yeah.
You have not provided the recommendations and the conclusion
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
answers. No, you'll be forwarding that after
Yeah, yeah.
this. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have also done only 3 expert interviews, is it?
Yeah, actually, we have sent mail to around 10 to 12, but we got information from 3. We tried to contact with them. Then because of again time, I thought first
Yeah.
preliminary finding.
So we will see if we can get, if you can get 2 more, it would be really good experts
Yeah.
to be included. And I will also tell you later on how we can, you can develop your this report further as
Yeah,
we
sure.
move on. Any questions for Kiran or for the previous presentation of Dr. Ilyas from the audience? Any questions? We can give about few minutes, 2-3 minutes for any other questions from the audience. For both Kiran and for Nausheen Ilyas. No? Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll move on to our third presentation. Bayer, do you have anything you want to add?
The Miss Arochas from Thailand just came, so
Okay.
welcome her. And
Yeah,
yes,
saw.
I don't have questions yet, but it's very good that he is done quite good consultation with the policy issues with the experts, which is really I like it. So, but when I see that also 27 research papers he used, and I'm just can't wait to see how those experts and those research papers is joined to each other. That could be interesting.
Yes. Okay, so next shall we have from Vietnam, Dr. Huynh. I hope I'm pronouncing your names right. If not, so sorry. Dr. Huynh from Vietnam.
Yes, you correct my name. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
Again, I will start the counting and then the timing, and then I will let you know after about 12 minutes. So you can wrap up in 3 minutes.
yeah. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so I like to present on the topic for Vietnam. So for the So in Vietnam, we have the population of more than 100 million people with quite balanced share, gender balanced share, and the rural population account more than 60%, up to 62%, and the agriculture play an important role in and it is one of economic pillar. It's with the share of 12% of GDP, and in agriculture, women play an important role because they play a key contributor to household welfare and rural economy. So in general, the female labor accounted for more or less 47%, and in which more than 26% of female labor they engage in agriculture, forestry, and fishery. However, they face with the systematic barriers in terms of wage, land ownership, access to credits, and leadership in general. And in Vietnam, there is the income disparities between urban and rural areas, and between women and men, where the women earn only more than 7 million Vietnam dong per month, while the men they earn a rate of more than 8 million Vietnam dong per month. And there is a number of barriers to economic empowerment for women in general, because nearly 86% of female agricultural workers they work in the subsistence farming, and informal job. This is insecurity for them, and they have a limited land ownership, financial access, and leadership representation. In general, only 6% of women is the lead of the agricultural cooperatives in Vietnam so far. And for the objective of the study, I just mentioned here, because this is also contribute to the project, but only focus in Vietnam, as the about representative from the country already presented. For the method, I also follow the guidance of the project, and with the desk study and also expert interview and case study. For expert interviews, I interviewed 1 man and 4 women with they have from 17 to 30 years of experiences in crops, livestock production, farming system, gender study, and also livestock environment issues. For case study, I interviewed 10 women farmers with they have a different stage in the age at 35, and from group of 35 to 50 and over 50 years old. And the interviews was carried out in the Red River Delta for 3 provinces: Hanoi, Hà Nam, and Thái Bình provinces. And in general, we have 7 out of 10 women are married with responsibility beyond farming. These as household and childcare, and 3 other women are widow or single, and they manage a farm independently. And 6 women they work in a mixed farming, and 4 others they work in the specialized livestock and or crop production. And 4 women manage they own less than 1 hectare, is landless, and the others they own 1, 2, or 3 hectares of the land. And I present here some main findings from Vietnam studies for gender dynamic and agricultural decision making. In overall, we see that men are the primary decision makers, and while women with technical training and improved knowledge they involve more in decision making. And there is imbalance in general role in agriculture. Women they mainly participated in the activities like for less technical required, like sowing, weeding, seed selection, purchasing input, and selling agricultural products. And while men they more involved in the technical activity like land preparation, pesticide application, irrigation, and soil management. And there is also the differences between region and ethnic minority group. For example, in general, the majority of group men is have more decision making power compared to the women, but in some cases of the ethnic minority, while the mature light, the women play more important role in the society and also in the family. And also I also found the important factor like household dynamics also impact to the decision-making power, like women involvement will increase in the case of men, that their men in the family migrated far from home, or in the case of widowhood or husband-in-laws. And the women cope with challenges and opportunity, and also have some opportunity, like a traditional norm limited female authority, but economic changes and agricultural training are gradually empowering women to take on more decision-making role. To access to the overproductive resources, I also found the general imbalance, that is, men have significantly more ownership and decision-making power over key agricultural assets, with legal and cultural factors reinforcing this disparity. Men predominantly control valuable resources such as land, water, large livestock species, and machinery, while women manage only small assets and daily input like food, clothing, and household expenses, because they have responsibility in take care of the family, of the children, elderly people, and also their husband. And for land ownership, even the legal framework for joint ownership, however, men are the primary owner of agricultural land and farm equipment, and also they have the main person to make decision making for land use and agricultural choice, and also for irrigation system. And there is a limited access to credit to women, especially in the remote area, due to their lower education level and also lack of financial training. For control over income, so in general, women are limited authority over household income. Men make major financial decisions, especially in the male-head households. While women manage only daily expenses, household purchasing, but they have limited control over significant expenditures. And also there is differences between region and farming system, and also cultural variation in terms of income control. There is the impact from migration in the controlling over income. For in the case men migration, they can increase their influence in the family and also in the society, but their wife at home, the wife in manage financial and farm work. Why in the case of women go to work outside, just like they consider like a short-term remittance, with potential tension around challenges traditional gender roles, because the society and the community, they do not expect the women go far from home to work. For the leadership in the community, there are also gender disparity, with men dominance in leadership role and decision making. Men involved more in holding leadership position, influencing the decision and participating in public forums, while the women, they participate very limited in the leadership role due to the traditional gender norm and limited resource, and they lack the confidence in public speaking. For community participation, women are underrepresented in farm cooperative, professional association, and decision making. And also, of course, there is differences between region and cultural and culture. And there's a number of barriers and potential solutions to leadership for women. Like firstly, the barrier for time constraints, because women had to be responsible for domestic and housework, and they lack confidence in and also experience in the society, in the community, this handle their willingness to take on the leadership role. But we also find that we can increase the leadership of the women through training, focusing on the women and supporting them to join the network for women. Yeah, and also in the training we can involve also the men to understand the balance, the gender balance, and then they can support their women at home to join in the community. For time use for our culture, I also find the disparity in the workload. For women, they spend more time on agriculture in general than men, and also on domestic work. They are responsible for the key activity in the farm, particularly in the family with migrant husband. And women spend double time than men in unpaid domestic chores, and they allocate almost of their time for agriculture and also for housework, and they have a very little time for leisure. And because of heavily gender norm on domestic responsibility, because the people think that the household activity is belong to responsibility of the women, yeah, in the family. And it's many studies show that women in rural work from 9 to 12 hours per day, and they have less than 2 hours for their rest. And while men work average of 4 to 8 hours. And the key driver for this, because it's come from the lower education level and of the women, and this limits them to join the
Excuse
other
me,
job
you have-
opportunities. Yes.
Excuse me, sorry. You have 2 minutes more, less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, so for in general, there are barriers and challenges for women face in agriculture. Less heavy workloads and limited access to education, training, and agricultural service, and low wage increase. This increase their vulnerability and also gender barrier to accessing resources. For case study, we found that in the interview farmers, women farmers all involved in feeding livestock, milking cow, plant harvesting, and farm operation. And 8 out of 10 women, they also manage cooking, cleaning, and childcare. And they have limited role in specialized tasks like veterinary care or heavily machinery. And they have limited access to resource and decision making, and also the training. Then these almost of the interview farmers, women, they are very reluctant in the speak out in the community. And it's good from the case study. I see that empowering women through education, policy changes, and community initiative can enhance the productivity, economic growth, and gender equality in agriculture. For policy implication and recommendation, we think that the comprehensive policy needs to address gender barrier in education, land right, financial access, and leadership and cultural norm. And leveraging technology and promoting women leadership can empower women agriculture for more inclusive and sustainable sector. And for conclusion, despite progress, further action is
Dr.
needed
Huyen,
to
your
address
time is
structural
up.
barrier and ensure gender equity in agriculture. Collaborative efforts across sectors are essential for lasting change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I enjoyed reading your report also. You have given a very good, I would say excellent background. I'm still reading the rest. I will provide you the rest of the feedback as we move on within a few days. But thank you for this presentation. Any comments, feedback from the audience? Okay, so you would see even when presenting how the presentations of findings are different for each of the national experts. The findings, how the findings are presented are different for the national experts. I will give you at the end how you can change certain things to ensure that there is consistency in the reports. I will talk about it later on. So thank you very much,
Thank
Dr. Yang. Yes. So we will next move on to Dr. Ju Ping Lin.
Yes,
Dr. Lin, can you present now?
okay.
Thank you.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, can see.
Okay, so I can start.
You can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Cha Wen-Yu from Taiwan. I am a postdoctoral researcher with Professor Lin because Professor Lin recently underwent an eye surgery and is recovering, so she asked me to report today. And I will now present a research finding from Taiwan. Thank you. Overall of the agriculture in Taiwan. It's okay to see?
Yes.
Okay. Farmland accounting for only 1/4 of Taiwan's total land area. The climate is highly suitable for agriculture in Taiwan. Total population with agricultural household is about 2 million, 10% of the national population. 760,000 agricultural and livestock household in Taiwan, 2023, primarily concentrated in the central and southern area. The combined added value gathered by agriculture and related industries accounted for 11% of the national GDP. Taiwan has entered a super-age society, especially in rural area. The proportion of aged 65 and above in agricultural and livestock household reached 27% in 2020. The average age of farming household is 64.4 years old. Next, I will present an overview of women in agriculture in Taiwan. The labor force participation rate among rural women is lower than that of men. The majority of female employment is concentrated in the third sector, with only 3% working in agriculture and related occupations. Focus on agricultural decision-making and access to resources, we find that the proportion of female managers has been low but is increasing. Notably, due to traditional inheritance north in Chinese culture, women accounted only 10% of agricultural heirs, significantly lower than men. The time use of rural women, apart from personal activities, shows that women spend a significant portion of their time on paid labor and unpaid labor, including household courses and assisting with farm work. It highlights that where rural women serve as a key member and agricultural labor is seen as a key extension of housework work. Over the years, women have consistently received recognition through the awards outstanding in agriculture. For example, In 2024, a female farmer from Changhua County has honored with the Model Farmer Award for her innovative production model that integrated technology to produce high-quality white mushroom. The following section will cover the methodology. The documents analyzed in our study, including National Data Research Survey data report and a specialized investigation or research report on the agricultural population. In total, we interviewed 5 key female professionals involved in agricultural research center and extension worker. Execute Director Huang works at the Foundation of Women's Rights Promotion and Development. She recommended that agricultural policies adopt a human-centered and holistic approach, enhancing lifelong development. This includes supporting education, employment, childcare, and elder care within the community, providing women with options and choices. She also recommended that help reduce the due burden faced by women, both family and agricultural work is important. Professor Fan has long been involved supporting and mentoring youth farmer organization for the Ministry of Agriculture. In Taiwan, Young Farmers Organization serves as an important social network for female farmers. She noted that young female farmers exhibit diverse strengths in areas such as production, marketing, and management. Professor Chen is an important demographer in Taiwan and has conducted research on rural families. She addressed that involving roles of women in agricultural production through the lens of population, family, and rural development. Researcher Chen has been surviving. Yes?
Excuse me, Ms. Yu. You don't need to really explain the details of the experts. You can just show it and move on. You can just say how many expert interviews and women were carried out so that we save time on for more important things like the findings.
Okay. The second group of research subjects was a female farmer. A total of 11 female farmers were interviewed. Next, we will present our key research finding. First, how we empowerment of rural women in Taiwan. Since the mid-1950s, the Ministry of Agriculture has established home economics extension department with farmer association across Taiwan. These home economics classes have served as an essential platform for rural women to acquire new knowledge and skills. The Ministry of Agriculture has implemented the specialized home economic class selection to show the contribution and the promotion efforts of these classes with local communities. Second, since the 1970s, the Ministry of Agriculture has supported rural women in participation in skill training programs. During the 1990s, agricultural extension policy focused on promoting women's supplementary business led to establishment of 2 local brands, Tian Mama is Dining Service and the Rural Women's Handicrafts. This brand encourage rural women to participate in creating community-based industries with the goal promoting their economic independence. By 2024, there was 100 Tian Mama Dining established across Taiwan as a platform promoting local agricultural products and combined agricultural food and agricultural education. To nurture young farmers, enhance the quality of agricultural labor, Taiwan launched the Top 100 Young Farmer Program in 2013. You can see the proportion of women among the top hungry young farmers has increased from just 5% to 20% in 2023. Young women have gradually become a significant driving forces in agriculture and rural development. The foremost barriers and challenges women face in agriculture in Taiwan include the practice of male inheritance, resulting in a lower proportion of women gaining land ownership and managing rights. According to the Act, each household is limited to one member in the Farmer Association. Cases of women independently inheriting and managing farmland remains relatively rare. Based on the research finding, the following section outline our policy implication and recommendation. First, focusing on the unique of women. Taiwanese women native their lives within a society, family, and individual timeline. At the individual level, their roles evolve across different age and life age. At the family level, responsibility shifts according to the family development stage. At the social and cultural level, varying expectations are placed on women's multiple roles, often which shape the daily life of female farmers. Policymaking should address the challenge faced by female, striving balance the both family and agricultural work. Second, enhancing pathway for female farmers to participate in agricultural organization. In Taiwan's culture, by modifying, regulating, and implement supporting measures, female farmers will be able to fully access governmental agricultural service and welfare benefit, while also gaining increasing opportunity and participate in public affairs within the formal agricultural system. Third, resource allocation to support covering production, processes, storage, and sales. Many interviews believe that Taiwan agricultural policies, subsidies, and application process do not have gender-based difference in Taiwan. The entire supply chain should be more supported. Government program and world should adopt a more holistic evaluation framework to increase incentive and support for women get resources and advance their agricultural careers. This has allowed women to gain visibility and influences with the agricultural sector, highlighting their growing role in shaping the industry future. Final is the concluding remark. And thank you for all your attention. I will welcome any suggestion. Thank you. And I will take notes and share with Professor Lee as a reference for our final report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Again, any comments from the audience before I have my say? Okay, so I've given this again in the report, detailed feedback, but I could see that the framework and the guidelines, the suggested structure that we have asked the national experts to follow. We've given the document, framework, and guidelines for national experts. There we have given the suggested structure for the reports. So that was not followed in this report. That was the main concern that I have. So the areas that needs addressing has really not been addressed. So we will have a one-on-one, and I will explain this further with Dr. Lin, so that this can be addressed. And there is also a focus group that you have mentioned. What was that? Have you also conducted a focus group? Maybe Professor Lin would know, but the focus group, the details of the focus group was also sort of, there was little details, but why a focus group was also missing. So we'll discuss these when I give you detailed comments. Okay.
Okay. So I have to show our focus group.
And not now, I have made comments, so we will discuss why a focus group came in and what was the rationale for that.
Okay.
Thank you. So we will move on to our next, so we have the break now. Sorry, we will take a break and
Excuse me,
yes,
Professor Arosha, excuse me. So before just a break, we have a couple of minutes. We should take the group photo, the picture.
yes.
So national experts, would you please everyone show your camera? So it's time to shine your face, time to smile. From Pakistan, yes. Thailand, Horachos. Excuse me, would you please turn on your camera so we can have a picture?
I already did. I have two computers.
Okay, sorry about that. You have it too, okay. So, one, two.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'll just give you a 1, 2, 3. Yeah? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. Just a moment. It takes time to do this. Sorry. Just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. Yeah, okay. And the second shot. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Just a moment, please. Yeah. Okay, just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. So now we have a break until 3:40. Thank you so much.
So we'll join back at what time? Sorry, in 15 minutes now because we are a little early, or do we join back in 10 minutes?
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you on 3:40.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Hi. I have joined late, so
Yes.
I apologize for joining it late. So I don't know who have already presented. I came in when it was the India case.
Okay. Yes. You can present the session on session 2 after break.
No, I know, but who has already presented?
Today the Pakistan, India, Vietnam, Taiwan.
Vietnam, Thailand. We already have Taiwan.
Taiwan, Vietnam, India, Pakistan. You missed 2 of the presentation.
I missed Pakistan, right?
Yes, and India.
India, I came in
Okay.
at the beginning.
All right.
All right.
So far we had the 4 presentations.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, time's up. Hello.
Hello.
All right,
Uh,
so time's up, and before the session 2 start, so I'd
Yes.
like to also talk about some points with you, everyone. So this is the time we can use to ask questions from each other. So I encourage the national experts to ask each other, if there is a questions. Even the expert can ask, the national experts can ask questions to chief expert right now. You have every expert have 50 minutes for question and answer time. So I encourage everyone to use the timing as well. And also, for next 4 presentations, the moderator will announce 1 minute before the end of the 50 minutes. So right now it's on track and it's nothing to worry, but it may happen in the next sessions. And also, I'm happy to tell that chief expert is given the opportunity to have the virtual meeting with national experts about the more individual comments and in the future. So if you're willing to attend the chief experts meeting, please, apply and then also the contact the chief expert. She's going to contact to you as well, And also one thing before we just start, please, general background is a bit long. So for next 4 presentations, we cut down the general backgrounds and more jump on to the, what's really the outcome and how did we do it and what is the real outcomes. We can see what's the research output, So we try to, maybe we should skip the background sections, in a minimum. So that's my point. So I'm giving the speaker to Professor Arosha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. So yes, it will be good if you can not cut down, but maybe quickly go through the background. Background is also important, but then give more weightage to the findings. That would be really good because we are strict on the time. So if that's that, we will start the sessions. I think we only would have 3 presentations, is it? Because I don't see the Sri Lanka national expert being present.
Yes, she's not replying yet. So we had 3 more presentations.
Yes. So then in that case, we will start our presentation with Philippines, Ms. Lei.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Can
Now
you?
I think my presentation is now ready. I'm sorry
Okay.
about what happened earlier.
That's
Let me just share my screen. Can you see it? Can you see my
Yes, please.
screen now?
Yes, can see your screen.
Okay, so this limited time is very challenging for me, but I'll try. All right, so good afternoon again, everyone. Let me present to you the findings of my study conducted here in the Philippines. It's for our project, of course, entitled Research on the Women's Empowerment Index in the Agriculture Sector. So just to provide a brief background of our country, so basically the Philippines has several islands, 7,641 islands as of the latest count, and it's geographically divided into three main island groups, the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Okay, for the population, it's about 119.1 million with a GDP per capita per person of $3,700. For the area, it's about 300,000 square kilometer, and 47% of our land is classified as agricultural land. There are actually 18 administrative regions, and each region is producing different high-value crops such as rice, plantation crops, sugarcane, banana, coconuts, and other high-value crops. So it is noteworthy to mention here that one of the most prominent regions that we have here is the Region 4A, or the Calabarzon region. It is composed of 5 provinces: Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon. And it's noteworthy because there are several research institutions that could be found in the region. And aside from that, there are also different high-value crops that are also found in the region. Okay, so in 2023, the agriculture, fishing, and forestry accounted for 8.6%. Hold on. What is happening to my... Okay, so 8.6% of the country's GDP. Despite the considerable growth of agricultural trade, the Philippines is actually lagging behind the neighboring Southeast Asian countries. Basically, the agricultural export performance of the Philippines reached about $7 billion as compared to 30 billion and 40 to 50 billion of that of Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand. So basically, we're lagging behind our neighboring countries. And as you can see, the agricultural sector employment, there's about 11.19 million Filipinos, and 23% of this could be found in the agriculture sector. And one of the pressing issues that we have here in the Philippines is, of course, poverty, and 30% were farmers and fisher folks. Okay, in terms of Philippine gender equality, we are actually progressing. We are having a lot of commitment to gender equality. In fact, we rank 25th out of 146 according to Global Gender Gap Report in 2024. However, despite this development, there is still wage gap existing between men and women in agriculture, and 35% of women do unpaid labor. I'm not saying that there are no men doing unpaid labor, but in terms of percentage, women have higher percentage. And then in terms of land title and ownership, there is also a law here in the Philippines requiring the equal provision of land title to both men and women. However, only 31% of them are getting, or 31% of female farmers are getting land title. And then in terms of agri-credit and micro finance programs to farmers, out of 10,966 beneficiaries, only 43% of them are women. Okay, so in terms of women in agriculture, it is still very common that here in the Philippines, more laborious activities are assigned to men, while processing and marketing are assigned to women. And when we say Filipino farmers, many people would always think that it's the head of the households. And when we say head of the households in the Philippines, here in the Philippines, they're normally considered as males. Okay, and then in terms of empowerment, well, many literature mention that women are slightly more empowered if they have off-farm employment. And then aside from that, they also have active participation in different community activities and associations. And according to them, they have better credit access to formal and informal sources. And then aside from all this, we can still see that there are still gender stereotype stereotypes existing in the country. So it basically affects women involvement in agriculture. And aside from that, there are also other structural barriers that limit the participation of women. I've mentioned earlier that there is national commitment to gender equality. While here in the Philippines, we have Magna Carta for Women of 2009. And basically, there are also other national commitments to gender equality. However, despite having these efforts or these initiatives, there are still some issues, gender-related issues, that limit the participation of women in agriculture. Okay, so for the objectives of the study, I just adhered to the objectives set by the project. So first is to study the roles and involvement of women in agriculture in the Philippines. Second, to identify structural and social and economic barriers women in agriculture. And third is to examine ways to overcome these obstacles and enhance women's contribution, productivity, and engagement, as well as their personal well-being. So for the methodology, let me just share to you that the research design I used was qualitative study, case study in particular. And for the participants and locale of the study, I selected women farmers from Region 4A, or the Calabarzon region. And these are the farmers who are engaged in planting priority high-value crops. And then Region 4A was selected because of the several high-value crops present in the area. And aside from that, because also of the different research institutions that could be found in the area. For the inclusion criteria, the participants must be from Region 4A, must be a member of a registered farmers association or cooperative in their respective municipality, and must be planting any of the priority high-value crops in the country. So it could be fruits, plantation crops, vegetables and legumes, or root crops. And then for ethical considerations, of course, informed consent as agreed during our meeting. And then I also encouraged voluntary participation. And then, of course, I ensure them of confidentiality and how I'm going to keep the data. So for the data collection, I conducted 10 interviews on women farmers from Laguna, Quezon, and Rizal, and then 5 key informant interviews. So basically, these are the experts who are working in the academe, local government units, farmers associations, and research institutions. And then as agreed during our meeting, I also conducted a comprehensive desk review. So this is for me to see the trends and statistics about women empowerment. So basically, the sources that I use are journal articles, news articles, and government reports, which I found on their respective websites. This is just to show you the characteristics, the socio-demographic profile of the selected women farmers in the Calabarzon region. So I'm not going to read one by one, but at least to show you all these characteristics, because everything is in the report already. And then, yeah, here is the continuation. And then this one for table 2, this is the socio-demographic profile of the key informant interview participants. So as you can see, they are from different institutions, and they are really considered experts because they've been working with women farmers for several years. And then in doing the data analysis, I adhered to the 6-step data analysis of Clark and Braun. Okay, so first, I did the familiarization with the data. Second, generation of codes. Third, combining codes into themes. Fourth, reviewing the themes. Fifth, determine the significance of the themes. And sixth, reporting of findings. So after doing all this, I was able to come up with 20 categories. And then 56 codes were generated from these categories. And from the generated codes, 23 initial themes have emerged. And then, of course, from these 23 initial themes, I reviewed again. I read the analysis that I made, and then I came up with a total of 17 final themes. I'm sorry, I think it was 12 in the report. It was just a typographical error. I'll just edit that one. But basically, I have a total of 17 final themes. For the findings, first, regarding the roles and involvement of women in agriculture, women farmers participate in the decision-making on agricultural production. As you can see in the participants, I presented the socio-demographic profile. We can find there that there are 5 married women farmers, and there are 5 single and widowed. So basically, those single and widowed farmers are the main decision makers because it's their own farm. So they're the ones who are making the decisions. On the other hand, the married women farmers normally discuss their decisions with their spouses. They also participate in the decision making, but they do not make they're not the sole decision makers, because as a married individual, they still have to consult with their husbands. Okay, but basically, by looking at the transcripts, we can see that these women farmers have participation in the decision making on agricultural production. And it is also evident in the direct transcript, which I'm not going to read because it's quite long. But yeah, these transcripts show that women farmers have their own participation in the decision-making process. For the second theme, women farmers decide on loan availment. Okay, so basically, they make their own decision. As you can see here in the Philippines, they have, according to them, they have better access to credit. But if it's not really needed, they do not avail of loan. Okay, if it's only needed, yes, they can. They make their own decisions, because especially if there are typhoons and natural calamities, they need money to finance their farm. But if it's not really needed, they say it's better not to take loans because it's going to burden all of us. Okay. The third theme, agricultural and digital technologies increase women farmers' knowledge and productivity. So basically here we can see the importance of technologies, both agricultural and digital technologies. For the selected women farmers, they mentioned that the agricultural technologies are quite hard for them to use because of the size, because these are bigger and actually more designed for men. But they acknowledge the fact that these are actually beneficial because it increases their productivity. In terms of digital technologies, it's also very helpful for them because they keep on using their cell phones, not just to, to be relaxed, but they use their phones to market their products, to let the community know that they have these particular products and they're ready to be sold. Okay, and then theme 4, farming poses health-related risks to women farmers. So there are some dangers in the farm that actually affect women. So they they actually recognize the fact that because of the weather, the changes in the weather conditions here in the Philippines, they normally experience headache, flu, and fever, especially when the weather is too hot. And they also recognize the fact that their body is already aging. So they have to be very, very careful. When it's rainy season, they have to be very careful because they have to avoid being slipped on the farm. Okay, so these are just some.
I'm going to jump in, Lei. You have only 3 minutes
Oh,
more.
Sorry. All right. So for theme 5, women farmers as financial managers, according to them, they are very good record keeper, what do you call this, in record keeping and budgeting. And then prices of inputs affect women farmers' satisfaction and income. Because of the continuous increase in price here in the Philippines, women farmers are also being affected. But they mentioned also that they're happy and satisfied on the use of their income because as long as they can provide for their family, as long as they can give the wants and needs of their family, they're okay. They're happy and they're satisfied. As you know, here in the Philippines, we're very family oriented, and it's very important to provide every time the children ask for something, they provide. And then theme 8, women farmers in community activities. They have very active participation, not just in the farm, not just in the household, but also in the community. In fact, others are members and leaders of different associations, and others are also officers or officials in their respective barangays. And then for theme 9, women farmers are found in different stages of the value chain. So from the production stage down to the final consumption, women are also visible. Okay, and they're also now they're working on value adding activities to make their businesses more profitable. And then for theme 10, women farmers have normalized having multiple roles. So, they're working not just at the domestic level, but they're also working in the farm and in their community. So they have different roles to perform. But for them, even if it's difficult, it's normal. Okay, so they're actually happy to do it. And these are responsibilities that have to be fulfilled by them. Okay, and then theme 11, time management skill is crucial for women in agriculture. So they're very good in doing that. They actually wake up very early in the morning to be able to finish all the tasks that they need to finish. For theme 12, simple leisure activities of women farmers, they have very simple needs and wants. But in most of these leisure activities, they want to spend it with their family. And then for the second one, social or structural and economic barriers experienced by women in agriculture. So basically, there's inadequate irrigation and transportation system, and this burden women. So lack of farm to market roads, and of course, they're also affected because of the frequent typhoons and floods destroying their farms. For theme 14, gender stereotypes and discrimination affect women farmers. So even until now, despite having national commitment to gender and development, it's still visible that gender stereotypes and discrimination affect women. So basically, they're always affected by some norms and cultural beliefs as well. And then theme 15, lack of resources affect women's farmers' productivity. So because most of them do not own their land, they only rent and borrow.
Your time is up. We
Yeah.
can quickly just show. You don't need to
Okay.
explain, but quickly show us the other slides so that we know what those are
Alright.
themes.
Okay, anyway, I have two themes remain left. So for theme 16, it's gender wage gap is also observed in agriculture. And for the last theme, natural calamities and pests is a big challenge to women farmers. So as you can see, we always encounter typhoons here in the Philippines. So it's a very big challenge for them. So as for recommendations, I came up with recommendations to the government. So basically, just to summarize all this, the enhanced support from the government is needed. And then also recommendations to the farming community. They have to develop peer coaching strategies, and recommendations to the women farmers because they also have to work within themselves, attend trainings and seminars. And then for the conclusion, well, basically we've mentioned the different
Fine,
challenges.
That's fine, Lay,
Alright.
then thank you, because we are
Okay.
over the time. Thank you. So that was
Alright.
a very interesting presentation. Thank you so much. I especially liked how you presented the findings. You have nicely included the desk review information as well as the quotes, like evidence from the interviews, the quotes that you showed. And also the information, the table on participants is also good. I've actually taken some of that information later on that I want other national experts to follow as well. So thank you very much. If there are more any comments from other participants, you can certainly raise them now. Or you can wait, maybe Bayer, we can at the end after my presentation, they would have more questions that they need to ask from me. So we can give more time there.
Excuse me, can I ask one questions from Miss Lee?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You know, the age, how did you choose the farmer's age? It was most of them is around 50s. So, for example, how about the young female farmers? How do you get the participation in your research? That's a number of first questions. And the second question is, you talk about you managed to talk about the associations of women. So did you get any the informations from the associations, and do you have in Philippines, do you have many associations of women farmers? And if there is more than one, how they differentiate to each other, you know, how they promote the maybe different age young farmers or maybe different big or family, you know? So this is
Yeah.
my second questions, and thank you.
Okay, regarding your first question, it's about the age, right? I
Yeah.
actually did not focus much on their age because as you can see here in the Philippines, the farming community is really aging. I'm more after their marital status. So I made sure that there will be married women to show the dynamics between the men and the women, the husband and the wife. And I also make sure that there's also single, or at least someone who does not have a husband, so single and widowed, because there I saw the difference. Okay, so of course, when it comes to decision making, as I've mentioned earlier, if you are the sole owner of the farm, if you're single or widowed because you have no husband to consult with, you can easily make your own decisions. But if you are married, you also have your participation because it's very evident among my selected participants, but they still have to communicate, they still have to consult with their husbands. So that's, I think, for me was one of the important things that I had considered in doing this. And then for the second question, I'm sorry, I forgot the second question. What was that again?
Yes, it's you mentioning about the associations, right? So
Yeah.
can you talk about more about how did you deal with the associations? How did you get the information, if you get the information from them?
Yeah, actually there are actually many associations, women farmers associations in the Philippines. In fact, there are several in one municipality. So actually they're very, very active. So I was not able to conduct a focus group discussion because it was not really needed for this project, but it was one of my inclusion criteria. The participants should be a member of farmers association, women farmers association, because for me it became easier to contact them if you contact the association first. So through the help of the officers, it became easy for me to contact the participants. So but with regard to your question, or do we have many associations here in the Philippines? Yes, there are actually a lot of women farmers association in the Philippines. They are very active, and in many of these associations, women are also serve as the presidents or the leaders. In terms of participation, they're very active. That's why in my report I included there, I tried, because this is about women empowerment, so I tried to analyze it using the Longway framework of women empowerment. So in terms of the different levels, I saw their participation. It's just that, still it's it's still problematic. Well, for me, I cannot really say that the women empowerment being experienced by the selected women farmers is actually sufficient, because in some of the levels they do not really satisfy. So yeah, there's still some improvement that we have to, to do. That's why I came up with several recommendations.
Okay. Thank you for answering. Thank
Thank
you.
you for that question as well. Thank you.
You have actually explained in the report a lot about this participation of women in the community. That was sort of unique setting context that I saw in Philippines that I did not see in the other reports that I've gone through. So yes, so next we will have Dr. Chinda from Cambodia to present.
Yes.
Yes. Are you okay?
Yeah, I will share my slide. Oh my God. Wait.
And just before you start, it's good if you have spent more time on the recommendations and the findings, because the Philippines finding a recommendation is really interesting, but we spend a bit time on the beginning of general background, So thanks.
Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and international expert. I'm Chinda. I'm a national expert from Cambodia, and today I would like to present my research finding. So firstly, I will be present about the conceptual background, methodology finding, conclusion, and national expert opinion. So about the conceptual background, the agriculture is the fundamental. Sorry. Agriculture is the foundational sector and underpinning economic growth and providing a livelihood for about 80% of the rural population of Cambodia. As 2016, the agricultural sector employs over 36% of the country workforce and accounted for the early 27% of its gross domestic products, GDP. The highest proportion of the women worker compared to the other sector, with 39.3% of women and 33.7% of men employed in the agriculture. Women in the cultural sector still face economic hardship as the unpaid family worker, like, for example, access to agricultural extension service, government program offering new technology and training for farmer is still limit for the women. And here is about the challenges for the women in I go with first about the information and technology. Women still lack of the skill, like 58.9% of men hate family-owned TV, while only 44% of women hate a family heads. And barriers such as core in infrastructure and also electricity access limit women use of ITC agricultural purpose. And other second worry about the credit access. Women face barrier to obtain credit due to the limited education about the loan and pure land. And the third point about the agriculture extension service, women still not accessible enough to new technology and technique in agriculture. And the fourth about the market access, the lack of safe and reliable transportation to and from market remain a persistent challenge for the women farmer. And the thing about the ICT training and also technology also limit market access for the women. And the last one about the technology and farm equipment, women hit the household have limit access to such tool. Men hit a household more likely to use pro about 88% and 31%, and hand tractor 7 times more likely, and water pump twice as likely. And women his household are also less likely to use a dressing machine or rice mill compared to the men counterparts. And about the second part about methodology, here is the Cambodia, yes, and we have select our farmer. 3 farmer from Kampong Chhnang province is about 80 kilometers from capital city, and another 7 farmer from Kanda province about 30 kilometers from capital city. So total Cambodia population is about 17.8 million, and about 80% are farmer. So here is I will report briefly about the methodology. We have first there's a review. We will collect the document, publication, including policy of Royal Government of Cambodia report and key talking point of the Cambodian Prime Minister related to the gender and agriculture. And we collect the data. We will have interview to our expert. Totally, such expert was selected for interview. Have been working with women in agriculture in Kampong Chhnang and Kanda province. And third, we have in-person interview as well with the farmer. Is a total 10 women were selected for the interview from the 2 geographical area, 3 from Kampong Chhnang and 7 from the Kanda province. And the last one about the data analysis. So I'm just briefly about the list of the expert, and 3 male and 3 female, and two respondent is from the government officer, and another 4 from the NGO. And they all work related to the leadership and management of research and extension program related to the gender and agriculture extension. And also all of them provide training about crop promotion, about the Selwyn Group also about the promote gender in agriculture at a local area. And here is about the questionnaire cover the following them. And other one is about the lead of the women in agriculture. I have selected, and all of them is married. Only one lady is single, and the age from 32 to the 50. And we take time around 2 hours to interview them. And here is the questionnaire cover the following question. So let me summarize about the finding. First about the role and involvement of the women in agriculture. About the decision-making contribution, traditional gender role influence the decision-making in agriculture, with men typically making key production decision, while the women contribute through informal influence, especially in the small scale and household level of farming around their house. And women influence vary based on education, income, and also resource access, with those having higher education and financial independence playing a larger role in decision related to crop selection and also market orientation production. And another point about the access to and decision making power over productive resources. Limit access to essential resources like land, livestock, and farmer equipment due to traditional heritage practices, gender-based policy, and also cultural norm favoring to men in Cambodia. And about the gender decision-making dynamics, where men typically control large-scale farming, like rice field. Mostly men control it, but for the vegetable farm, it's almost lady they decided and control all crop production from nursery to sale. Yes, and men are also manage about the use of all heavy like machine, tractor, and women in and small scale production and livestock management around their house. And women are gaining more control through farmer cooperation, community group, microfinance program, and support from NGO promoting gender inclusive policy. Recently, all women, they always join the training because their family decide a woman to join the training because men said that a woman always work at home. So recently, women become more comprehensive related to the agriculture operation, and now she always suggests her husband and also guide her husband to use how to use the pest control method, and as well as about the which crop to grow, because women they have always meet with the community, and also she also joined the community, so that's why she know a lot about the market demand and which to grow. In another about the control over use of the income and expenditures, traditional gender role influence financial control, with men overseeing likely financial decision, while women manage daily household expense through this dynamic is gradually shifting. All women control all expense in household, also in agriculture, but except for like machine for like a tractor or other tool with using in the large scale, men lead to make decision. So women just suggest what to negotiate about the price. Women priority household needs such as food, clothing, and educational, whereas men focus on the farm expansion or personal expenditures relating social expectation. Like they enjoy with other men in the village, but women they also spend money only for the household Yes, and limited financial neglect and access to resources, hitting women's ability to fully control saving, investment, and long-term financial planning despite their contribution to the agriculture's income. And about the community leaders, we growth and financial literacy program help women gain a lot in financial management skill because women always join the training more than men recently and understand the profit and loss and make informed economic decision as well. And social norm impact women financial autonomy and also increasing access to banking, service credit and secure financial system can strengthen their control over income and also household development. About the leadership in the community, women are increasingly influent in agricultural cooperative, like I mentioned earlier, and also community decision making. Often leading in financial management and also advocacy, especially in the vegetable sector. She always be a wide director in the team, and very in leadership, including gender stereotype, household responsibility, limit education, and lack of the target training, distribute women to secondary role rather than primary decision maker. For this part is I heard from the other said that some
Excuse me,
women.
Dr. Chinta, you have
Yes.
only 2 minutes more.
Okay, fast.
Less than 2 minutes.
Sorry, I cannot hear.
You have only less than 2 minutes.
Okay, I will speed up. Strategy access to the enhanced women in leadership include increased access to leadership training, gender supportive policy, and also dedicate resources for women lead project, community engagement, and also inclusive participation essential, encouraging both women and men to support gender equality in leadership and also decision making role. Time use of the agriculture, women in agriculture with your burden of farming and also household responsibility leading to exhaustion, reduce productivity, and also limit participation in training and community. Still, some women cannot join the training. Initiative promoting share household responsibility and also workload reduction are essential to improve the women well-being, enabling them to engage them in the agriculture and community development. And the last,
Dr. Chinta, can you quickly go to the challenges and recommendations?
Okay. About the very and talent women face in agriculture, and women in agriculture face many challenges, but we divide into the main 3 groups. First is a structural challenge, and second is social and cultural challenges, and the last is economic challenges. So. Okay, for the case study, yes, role and responsible for the women in agriculture. I have interviewed totally 10, so 9 out of 10 responsibility respondent participant in agriculture activity, vegetable production, pre and post harvesting activity, selling and making compost, natural.
Dr. Chinta, sorry, your time is up. Can you show us the recommendations, please?
Okay. For recommendations, okay. Recommendation is about the gender quota and participant should be in the event or other training should be have the quota. Invite women at least 50% to join the training. Yes, and other thing is financial literacy and leadership training. Have women take a more active role in the household income management and also decision making. And another one about the education and skill training. Equip women with the knowledge to participate effectively in a community meeting cooperative and also agriculture organization. And also impact of the technology platform, digital platform also have to reduce digital tool and mobile app, maybe provide women farmer with real-time market information, farming technique, and also networking opportunity. Caro ơi, bón xong tí. Caro bón xong
Thank
tí.
you. Thank you, Dr.
Sorry.
Chinda. Thank you for that because of the time. But are there any questions from the audience? From the other national experts?
National experts can ask questions and also can tell your comments. You know, it's a best time to exchange experiences.
One question from me, Dr. Chinda. You at the start, sort of in your third or fourth slide, you spoke about the challenges that are there for women in agriculture, and then later on in the findings also you show the challenges. So the challenges that you have shown in the findings, are they outcomes from the interviews? Was that what came out from the interviews, or was it from the literature review or desk review?
Our challenge is also from the review, also from the case study I have collected from our respondent, and we find out that recently have many changing because all women is increasingly to participate and in the training more than men recently, and also the challenges for other women that they cannot join the event training or also join the in the group. Women group or association community is still have many women in the local area, especially in the Kampong Chnang province. It's far from the capital city. They say that it's still gender norm and restrict from family. They not support women to join the training.
So are there differences of the challenges between the provinces?
Yes. Of course, I have collect the interview from the Kampong Chnang and also Kandar province, and yes, it's different because for the women in who are living far away from capital city, so about training accessibility, some women, just a few women can join, but other women is not encouraged from their family to join, and also themselves feel shy, and also families think that it's best time to join the training, and so not secure for them to travel from home to training event. And for the Kandar province, farmer is like live nearby city, so they can get more information, and so training, so that their education is better than before, so they encourage other women to join the training, so they can get improved and more comprehensive related to agricultural activity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anything else? Anybody?
Can I add some point?
Yes.
I think in Cambodia is about the training now can all women can access, but the thing is women access the training and come back home, they still have limit to transfer the what they have learned to her husband, and also it's about the husband also ask his wife join the training, but he's not join the training, and he's still like he is head of the family. Sometimes he not believe his wife what to do. This is what I can have observed from what they said. And other thing is like when talk about gender, should be provide men and women together to training. It's not like men, they didn't share or share household work with the women. So if we want a woman to participate in agriculture more better, need men men need to know to share household working, check balance, or work in farm also in household work. So that's why they can make more income and also make more productivity in agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So shall we move on to the final, I think. Ms. Vaya, I saw the Sri Lankan national expert coming in, but she has left again. So I think what we have now is the last but not the least presentation. It's Dr. Orachos from Thailand to present now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Sorry?
Can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? No?
Very slightly, very vaguely, we can hear you.
Hold on one moment.
And now when you come closer, I suppose we could hear you when you came closer.
Wait a moment. I think I should change the headset. Well, first of all, thank you so much for giving a chance to join the project and also presentation today. I apologize, Oraita, for not sending the report timely, but I hope I will be able to finish that and share with you soon.
You're not very clear to me. Is it only for me or is it not so for the others as well? Is it not clear for others as well, or is it only for me?
Yeah, it's not really clear.
Is it better?
Oh yeah, it's better now.
Okay,
Thank-
sorry, so sorry. Well, first of all, thank you, and let's not waste time. I would like to share my slide. Okay, so I have not submitted the report, but I hope to do that sometime soon. So just take the opportunity to share what I have so far at the moment. So my case or my country report would be specific to seed growers, and I would explain why. So today I'm going to go over quickly on 4 sessions. One is the general situation and what about seed production that I specifically interested in. The second one is about data collection and some of the short methodology. Then I would go directly to findings, summary, and implications. So first of all, rather than giving you overall situation of Thailand agriculture or perspective on agriculture, I would like to emphasize on something that might be more relevant to women and gender. First of all, agricultural labor force in Thailand attributed to about 30% of total labor force. And then at the moment, in all sectors, especially in agriculture, we also experience aging farmers and labor shortages. Majority of the household, agricultural household already employ machineries. So this implies that in agricultural production, women or men already have access to the use of machinery in place of labor. One thing that I think is important is about law relevant to women in agriculture. We have a law that protect women. Those basically are service or higher labor. So we have the law that cover the rights of employed women farmers. Basically, it just to protect women from being involved in dangerous job, and also they can have maternity leave and also prohibit from certain jobs. So the graphs at the bottom show you that we have employed about 30% of agricultural workforce from total. And the one that is representing the second is you see that the number of age farmer, basically 65 and above, would have increasing trend, while the middle age and the younger ones will have sharply declined. Same thing what you see on the right is that you would observe that labor, especially in the household remotely or in all parts of the countries, are experiencing aged household. From some of the surveys at a national level would show that women, particularly in agricultural sector, play a critical role in agriculture production. One important thing is that this sector employs the majority of women who are hired, okay, about 30% compared with other sectors. And within this, of people who are employed, half of them are in informal sector. Basically, they have no social security. Okay. And at the same time, skilled workers in agriculture and fishery employ most of the informal female workers, about 50%. And so my case, my report would focus on informal sector of women in agriculture. Okay. So why I select seed production as a case of Thailand is because I have not evidence critically seeing the issue of imbalance in gender in any sector, including agriculture in Thailand. That is something that I think if I make it a very general case, it would not show anything interesting results. The reason I pick gender, particularly in seed production, is because the seed sector in Thailand is one of the important production that contributes substantially to export income. So Thailand ranked 18 in the world, is second in Asia after China in seed export, both value and quantity. So if you look at this graph, you would see that the income, the revenue basically from exports come mainly from vegetable seed, except for the very first one, which is made for animal feed. The rest of them would be seed for basically human consumption, crop, kind of tomato, morning glory, and all others. All these are vegetable crops. And seed production, my hypothesis is that it especially requires some certain skills that women might have advantages over men. If you look at the seed that sells in the market, these are hybrid varieties, and it will require certain skills, particularly cross-pollination. And it's delicate and kind of tedious job, and it requires of also being labor intensive, and at the same time, it's require patience in doing this kind of job. So it's not just working hard and in the field, but it has some certain tasks specific to cross-pollination and also seed production that I think it will highlight the case of women empowerment in this study. So seed farming is time consuming, as we all know. It requires all well planning. It's not just planning of what activities should be done over the period of the crops, but also it's very, very specific to timing, especially cross-pollination. It has to be certain hours of the day, and it has to be during what time and what age of the crop. And also it would require planning in terms of accounting and financial management. It's not just skill in the farm alone. So last, seed production require resources, of course, just like any other land, labor, machinery, and especially irrigation investment. So this, my initial hypothesis is that it might also not easy for women to access for resources, and can also be constrained by gender norms in some cases. So my method of study is first select the area and crops, and you have seen my previous slide that I think vegetable seed would be the important focus in this study. So the first thing I do is to contact seed companies and some public institutions that do seed production. And then through the identification of these seed companies, we select the area where we believe it's the prime area of seed production. And after that, we realize that it's in various places, but I especially selected the northeastern part in this picture that you see on the right, is because it's also prime area for other crop production, particularly rice. So northeastern of Thailand is the major area of rice cultivation, but we're not going to focus on rice cultivation. We're going to look at vegetable seed, particularly in this area. The guidelines for interview, of course, I use what APO has shared, and my personal specialization is economics. So I also look at some other indices, although this study is going to be more on the qualitative side and quantitative, but I want it to be a beginning of future studies. So I use the guidelines, particularly on AWEAI, which is abbreviated Women's Empowerment for Agriculture.
Excuse me, Dr. Ora, you might have to go to the findings and that part quickly because of the time constraint.
Yes. Okay. So basically, I don't see any relevant, particularly on women in agriculture in Thailand, and also experts to identify, to have in-depth interview with these people. I had difficult time identifying them. And I have mentioned this at the beginning of the study, that I think there might be very, very few, and I still have not found significant or substantial studies relevant to women in agriculture and in Thailand. So here are the samples. I have interviewed 22 female seed growers. I put more emphasis on the number of seed growers or farmers because I want to see their experience more than hearing it from others. Right? And these are the summary of these people. Type of seed cover majority of what's being cultivated at this time of the year. Women are aged on average 50. They have about 7 years on average of education, basically finished elementary school. The size of households is about 4. All of them are married, not divorced, not widow, or not single. Experience in seed farming is about 14 years, but the experience in agriculture is longer. I also asked about other jobs or sources of income if they have, and they are diverse. It can be anything from rice cultivation to animal husbandry and other crops. The husband jobs, most of them, if not all, are also involved in seed production somewhat. Okay, and they also have some other jobs, but not all of them do. Because of the age, around 50 or above, most of them don't have small children anymore. Some of them also have grandchildren at home or elderly parents or in-laws. So I use this as a key of my interview question based upon abbreviated Women Empowerment in Agriculture Index. So the results, there are so many things that I should highlight, but I'm just gonna go over things that I think are important based upon the time limitation we have. First, regarding production, nearly all of them have joint decision in almost everything. Okay, but women dominate decision in seed production, participation, farming planning, scheduling, hiring labor. Men would be dominating decision on investment, particularly if it's involved large investment like machinery and irrigation. Ownership, they equally own almost everything of the assets. One I think is important is the land ownership. Whoever owns the land usually make decision on the piece of land they own. But it turns out that men and women almost equally own the land in this area. In some cases, women might not have the right to own land, but in this case, it depends. One interesting is that whoever take care of the parents usually inherited farmland. So That's why women most of the time would be ones who own the land for the next generation, because they are one who take care of the family or the parents. Access and decision on credits, it's usually joint decision, but the transaction can be made depending on who are the members of the institution that they provide credits. Control of use of income, surprisingly to others, but not surprise to me, is that women are the one who control income of the household. Men usually give the income all to women to manage, but they make decisions jointly. But the one who control the cash of the household will be women. And household usually involve not only one single bank account or one source of saving, but they can also have separate accounts in some cases. But almost all decisions, particularly on financial and income, will be made mainly by women. For leadership, I found that none of them are members, or even their household are not a member of most of the major community groups, women's group, credit union, cooperatives, nothing. Remember, these are seed growers.
Excuse me, Dr. Oda, you
yes.
have only about 2.5 minutes.
Yes. Okay, so I would suggest that if we look at this aspect, it doesn't mean that they don't want to be involved, but they don't see the benefit of being involved in some of these community groups. Allocation of time, I see that men and women share tasks or chores both at home and in the farm. If there are things that men are dominated or better at these tasks, it will be allocated to men. At the same time, women will be allocated to jobs that are suitable for women. So I want you to see some of the photos that household or household chores will be taken care of by women. Men usually help, even cooking, washing, cleaning. But of course, these are household. It's not one or the other who doing that, but they would pick what tasks or activities they are good at, and then they will allocate jobs to those particular people. In the farm, there are specific jobs that kind of require patience and delicate skills, like I mentioned on the tree photo on your left. These are cross-pollination. So meaning that women are better at this, while irrigation, for example, like the third photo, this one, you don't see it, there's one man behind it. He's the one who controls the water gate. So it's a little bit labor intensive, and it would be hard physical effort for women. Adaptation is that on the two picture on the right is that one, this woman.
Excuse me, Dr. Your time is up. How many more slides do you have?
A few.
Can we quickly, if you have the recommendations, can we quickly have a look?
Yes. So before I go to recommendation, I want to say that this is an example of women who want to be able to do water irrigation herself. So she invests in this solar cell and install kind of devices so that she can control water gate herself easily. So this is adaptation of what women can do on her own, while usually these are the jobs of men. So in summary, I want to go maybe towards the end of this slide, that women are not kind of one who dominate everything, but a lot of things women can manage better, especially cash, income, finance, and things like that. I don't see serious issue of imbalance in terms of power or decision or even control of capital or asset. But based upon the characteristic of women, they are more socialized. They can connect to the community, not formally, but informally, to joining certain activities. My summary is that it requires both men and women to do a great job at seed production, not one or the other. And there are supports that could be more enhanced, including technology that can make women can be eased at job in the farm. So that is the end of my slide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Any comments from the audience? If I may ask, just a clarification, Dr. Ora, you said, I don't know whether I heard this right. Did you, when you rationalize the selection of seed farming, you said that in other agricultural areas, there is, or in Thailand overall, there is little gender issues. Is that what you said? Or there are gender issues? But I was not sure.
I don't see any serious gender issue in any sector or any part of Thailand.
Oh, okay, okay. So is that sort of, is that backed by evidence research in different areas? Or is
Like-
this your observation?
My observation, and I think it's also true. That's why you don't see many gender studies in Thailand, because
Yeah.
they're not so much to say about it.
Okay, interesting. So it would be sort of a interesting case to look at Thailand, this aspect of lack of gender issues when all other countries that we are that is in the study has a lot of issues. So,
No, but what
yeah.
I mean is that when I look at this project, it's empowerment, right? So it doesn't mean that women are inferior, but they can be empowered. So they can be enhanced in terms of opportunity and skills, and they can, contribute even further to the sector. So that is what I understand as empowerment. It might be good at it, but it can also be better.
Yeah, true. True. So when you talk about in your report, it would be good if you can highlight this difference that is seen in Thailand with reference, of course, with your observation, but we will also need evidence to say that there are lesser issues when it comes to gender overall, for women overall, and also in the agriculture specifically, and then move on to your findings where you either say that you have that women that you study just have certain issues or not. You can then later on come to that so that we explain that clearly.
I hope I can find good evidence. I just don't. It's just that there are not very many to refer to.
I know, this is to say that gender is not an issue. That I'm sure you'll be able to find out, because your observations alone would not carry weight in a report like this, isn't it? When you say that there are no gender issues, there'll be always somebody who can question it. But if we can back it with evidence, with research findings or whatever, with somebody, an expert.
Yeah, I understand.
Understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else, others? Okay, if there are no other issues, maybe we can move on to the next item in the agenda. Bayo, do you want me to start with the presentation, with my presentation and my suggestions?
Sure, and thank you guys. And this is the end of the session 2, and we used the presentations we had quite interesting. And now it's a time for session 3, and this is time you can ask anything from your chief expert. So would you please everyone use your timing? And this is one of your opportunity. But even though you have so many questions, you cannot, if you can't ask right now, you can write text in chat section. And if you don't have time for that, even you can have individual meeting with your chief expert. So which is giving everyone, national experts, giving the opportunity to meet with your chief expert. And yes, would you please continue session 3 and moving forward and your suggestions, and also please talk about the agreement of national experts of how the successful completion of this research, Thank you.
Thank you. Let me share my presentation. A minute, just trying to see how I can. Can you see the slides? Yes, and hear me as well.
Yes, I can see.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the presentations and the hard work that the national experts have engaged in. So as I've mentioned, I have gone through almost all of your research, almost all. So based on that, I will give you some overall comments as a way to move forward and to ensure that we all achieve the objective of this project and produce a valuable report indicating the context of the 8 countries that is in this study. If I take the contextual backgrounds that you have mentioned, that all of you had, all the reports had a contextual background where you have presented information about the country, about general statistics related to women overall, and also related to women in agriculture, and also background and social aspects related to women in agriculture. So this information was available. But for us to ensure consistency, because now ultimately we have to have consistency in the 8 reports. And these reports would go as chapters, and they need to have similar information. Of course, there'll be differences in the findings and all of that in terms of the content, but in terms of how you present and what you present will have to be similar, and there needs to be a consistency. So with that in mind, I thought it would be good if you all can, of course, present most recent statistics. In one of 2 reports, I saw the statistics that were presented about labor force participation, about women involvement in agriculture, about GDP. They were quite dated. So sometimes it was 2016, 2017, which is now it's almost 10 years, a decade almost. So it's important that the statistics that you have, that you present in your report, be most recent statistics. Preferably 2022, 23, 24 would be the best. But then again, I do understand some countries might not have certain census being done very recently, but they still would have this common information available in other reports. So if you can, I will share this presentation also with you later on. It would be good wherever you have this information to present this information, so that it's that we maintain the consistency. And if there needs to be any comparison to see how the countries differs in certain instances, it will be useful when we have this information. So this is generally about sort of the country context, and also more specifically about agriculture, and also about the situation of women, the gender gap. Maybe Dr. Ora, you can maybe look at the global gender gap ranking to support what you say, that there is little gender disparities in Thailand. So like that, see how you can find this information, but I will certainly share this with you later on. But if you do have any questions as I move on, please feel free to raise your hand and ask for clarifications. So that would be the background information. So I've given in the framework and guidelines for national experts how it should be, and the number of words, if possible, to stick to that. And then in the methodology, it would be good if you give more details of the methodology and the data collection. So we've actually, again, in the framework and guidelines for national experts, we've mentioned that how the data collection should be carried out, and the methodology is a qualitative study, because the scope otherwise would be too big if we are to go for a quantitative study, and the resources you have would not be available, not be enough for you to do that. So this is a qualitative study, really. So when you explain the methodology, the data collection, selection of the participants, all of that, it would be good to explain, to rationalize why you have done so. Many of you have, but others too need to revisit their reports. I will give you comments on these specifically, but again, reflect on and revisit your reports to see whether you've done that. So it's very important that you give the participants backgrounds, profiles in a table. So we can very clearly then see who said what. So for women farmers, something like this, a table, these would be your columns. I've taken this from the Philippine study, and I've added one or two columns to that. But if you can give information on these, it would be really good. We can then again, the consistency can be maintained. Okay, so then for key informants, again, something like this, where you don't need to give the real name. Some have actually, many of you, for the experts, you have given the actual name, but I feel that for confidentiality reasons and for ethical reasons, unless you have gotten written consent from them to actually reveal their names, and you have gotten them to audit or go through the transcript to agree that is what was said, unless you have done that, it would be good to use pseudonyms for both the women farmers that you have interviewed and also for the key informants. So for them, it will be good to state what their agency's designation and also the nature of involvement they have with women farmers. And then continuing with the methodology, it will be good to provide more information about the interviews. How many were interviewed? Some have clearly said. Very few reports have not clearly mentioned how many interviews. So you have to be outright of that 10 interviews or 12 interviews with women farmers and 5 interviews with experts like that. You have to be specific on that. And you have also understandably selected certain geographical areas. And some of you have given very detailed rationale as to why those selections were done. Others who have not done so can also provide a rationale as to why certain geographical areas were selected and how long the interviews last. Those would be good information to have in the methodology. And then terminologies that you use in the report is also something that we have to be careful. This being a qualitative study, we generally use the terminology participants rather than the sample, because when we use the term sample, it indicates a representation of the population, which is not what we are doing. So in that case, it will be good to use these qualitative terminologies. So participants would be a good terminology to use when you talk about how the participants were selected. No, not how the sample was selected, because you were not really looking at a sample as such. Then desk review. So desk review, now in one report, the India's report, you have done a very good analysis of literature. That is good. You can use the literature separately when you, bring in certain aspects when you discuss your findings. That is fine. But desk review has a different meaning to literature review. I've also mentioned this, explained this in the previous presentation as well, the first meeting that we had. So a desk review is more about document analysis and information that are from secondary sources such as reports, polity documents, white papers, databases, things like that, so that we show that it's for applied purpose, it's for policy purpose. So it's not really not necessarily for any theoretical, reason, not for basic research purpose, because this is a policy related, applied oriented and practical oriented study that we are doing. So therefore, it's the desk review that is needed to be done. So when you have done the desk review, it would be good again to explain how the desk review was done, or what were the type of documents that was looked at, reviewed, and if possible, even give a list of those documents as an annexure that will clarify and lead to trustworthiness ultimately. So the three main methodologies that the data collection methods that are used, that we suggested that you use, was interviews with women farmers and the experts in the area, and desk reviews. So if you have those, that should be good. Then findings. You don't need to quantify the findings. Again, in one report, I saw the findings were quantified and the graphs were drafted. Now we can't quantify from 13 women or 10 participants, 10 participants. It's not, really valid or reliable for us to quantify things. And in qualitative research, we don't really, the findings, we don't quantify or provide percentages as to this percentage of participants said this. We can certainly say majority said this, or very few said this, only one said this. That we can do, but we don't really quantify or provide percentages in qualitative studies. And what is the most important aspect of your research is the findings, where you explain in detail. That's the whole purpose for us to go into a qualitative study. So you need to provide rich explanation, especially in areas that you think are unique and different. Don't write very broadly sort of and very briefly, but provide a rich explanation so we know what had happened. We will know beyond what a survey would have given us. We would really know why something is happening, how something is happening, who is involved. We will get that information only if we provide a detailed, more richer explanation. And I didn't see I don't think in any of the research, well, one research, I think Cambodia had the table. I think, Dr. Chinda, you had the tables, the thematic table. And in your presentation also, you had the codes. So that thematic table, I've given comments in the report. We'll discuss that later on when we meet one-on-one. That table is not needed, but when you explain, you take one aspect, one finding, and then when you explain, you support it with the quotes from the participants, as well as maybe things that you found out from the desk review. I will show you an example for this. So in your explanations, you need to do both these. You need to include direct quotes from the participants as evidence, and then references or evidence for statements you make. So example, if I'm to give you example, so if you are talking about 3.1.2, access to and decision-making power over productive resources, you would most probably explain it like this. So I've just taken this from India's national report. Now this sort of, you have brought in the documentary evidence and literature support and all of that, but only the negative that I see in this part is the old citation. So it has to be never when you, as I said at the start also, whatever you show here has to be up to date, because otherwise this situation that you explain here would have changed after 10 years. Now, if you take Chayal et al. Here, it's a 2013 finding. So it's 12 years ago. So the situation would have now changed. So that's why I've been telling you, use the most recent citations, documents, reports to support it. But what you can take from this part is how you write it. You know, how you write this, this explanation, this detailed explanation. And then in the same part for 3.1.2, you sort of, you know, support with the desk review, and then you also bring in the things from your findings, things from your participant interviews. Something like this. This is a hypothetical code that I brought in just to show you how it should be written. So you can write how the participants, the women you interviewed said this, and then you provide evidence, a quote, a direct quote, what they said to support what you are claiming, to say this is what they said. And that's what I have interpreted in this way, sort of. You know, I hope that this is clear how you have to sort of write. I'll show you more. So if you are to take challenges, when you write about challenges, I saw some of the reports had very clearly identified different challenges under structural, economic, personal, all of that. But even if you don't, you know, differentiate it like that, it's good if you can. If not, take one challenge by challenge and then explain it in detail. So sometimes I also saw you talk about challenges in 3.1, and then at the start, in the context, you talk about challenges, then in 3.1, you talk about challenges, and then again in 3.2, you talk about challenges. So make sure that, you know, you don't repeat yourself. So if you're talking about challenges, talk about it under 3.2 challenges. If you're talking about role of women, talk about it under 3.1. So this is something that you can sort of, you know, something like this would be what you write. So, so you explain, I'll give you a little time to read this. Okay, so I will anyway share this with you so you can look at this in more detail later on. So then moving on to a little bit more details on findings. So as I said a while ago, identify these specific areas separately, 3.1, 3.2, and 4 separately. So 3.1 is on roles, extensions of engagement. So explain in detail, taking the interviews data, desk review data, and all of that, insert direct quotes. And then when you talk about role and nature of women in agriculture, if possible, explain whether these are informal, formal work that women engage in, paid, underpaid, unpaid work, average age of women in this area, things like that. Then when you talk about barriers and challenges, they might arise out of what you explain in 3.1. When you spoke about their role, you would have said that they don't have access to land, and they put a lot of time on from from morning to night, they work a lot. So from that would come a challenge. From those, a challenge would arise. So what is the challenge that comes out of that from 3.1? That's what you should mention in the under 3.2. Again, bring in interview excerpts and desk review information. And when you also write barriers and challenges, just see whether they are gender-related barriers or overall. Is it general? Is it a challenge for both men and women? But here, what our concern is specifically on women, because we asked, talk is about women, so report is about women. So it's good if you focus on gender-related or women-related barriers. So barriers can be explored in terms of education and health, use of digital technology, access to markets, all of that, in addition to the challenges that you would identify stemming from 3.1. And then 4, the policy implications and recommendations should be based on the barriers and challenges women face. So you can have some common sort of recommendations, policy implications and recommendations later on, but at least some of the policy implications and recommendations link it to the barriers and the challenges that you have identified under 3.2. And if wherever possible, bring out any differences among women or provinces, what you see, you can bring those out within the findings that you explain. And I know there is a little confusion as to case studies, what case studies are. We had that discussion on our first meeting also, and then I shared your document where they have presented case studies. So when you present case studies, it would really be interesting to the reader, and they would be able to understand the context really better. So that's why we thought of case studies to be included in this. So it's where these case studies is where you write the stories of selected women participants related to the topics under discussion. So what we discussed under 3.1, 3.2, and all of that, the challenges, barriers, the role of women, their access to land, their ownership in land, all of that. If there are any interesting stories, you write it like a story. I'll show you example again. So that's what we need to include under case studies. So you understand this context of women more. So out of the 10 or 12 or 13 interviews that you have done with the women, you might not write all their stories, all 12 women's stories, but select from the 10 or 12 interviews that you have done with women, interesting stories that would illuminate what you are trying to say. So if you are talking about a certain challenge, so how have they undergone that challenge? How do they experience that challenge as a story, as a narrative? As something that the readers can relate to. So these can be about 100 to 200 words each. So if you can just have few such stories, case studies, that would be fine. And when you write it in third person. I'll show you how. So about 10 such stories for each national expert report is what we expect. So this is from the document that I shared with you. That was on barriers to women's land and property access and ownership in Nepal. So, you see, when you read it, you really, see the story. It's the storytelling that, captures the attention of the audience, the narrative, the story. You can have a look at this again when I share. In the interest of time, I'll quickly move on. So another example, Kamala's story, barriers to land ownership in India, hypothetical case. So something like this would be useful. So some of the critical points that I want to highlight at the end is, please follow the suggested structure of the national report given in the framework and guidelines to national expert, that is pages 5 to 6 in the document that we have shared. You have to follow the structure, because otherwise it will be so different. I saw very few reports have actually followed this structure. So it is then very difficult for us to compare, for us to really look at the similarities to, the chapters would also then be so different. Which can't be the case in a report like this. So you need to follow this structure of the national report. It's a must. And then include the missing parts. Some reports had recommendations missing, conclusions missing, case studies missing. See what you have missed and include, in addition to my comments that I would give for each individual report later on. In some reports, there are a lot of repetitions. Make sure that the repetitions are avoided. And as I've said, I'm repeating again, statistics and information provided needs to be most recent, most updated information. and support your statements with references, with quotations and all of that. Every important statement that you make will need to be with a in-text citations, a reference, and provide in-depth, rich explanations in the findings. Use APA style. So when you do in-text citations, it has to be APA style. I saw some reports had footnotes as the references. So that can't be the case. APA style that APO uses is where there is a specific way of in-text citation that you have to follow. And avoid being very general and broad. You have to be very specific, taking in the descriptive information and the direct quotes as your evidence. So the way forward is, so I will provide written feedback and comments on national reports within the week. Actually, within even today or within tomorrow or day after, I will provide the comments, your reports with my comments on sites. And then I will also share this PowerPoint with you. But I thought it will be good if I meet you all one-on-one. So, sorry, it's 26. If we can have, because the time differences are vast, I will just say this is 26th. Yeah. So if you can, if we can have one-on-ones, then we can clarify further issues that we have and make sure that we do a very good, we all work towards a very good final report. So if I can have these 2 dates and I can develop a schedule and share with you, and then on the time given, you can, meet up with me and we can discuss further. And if you need to, you can also reach out to me separately to clarify things by copying APO. So this is my email address. This is my WhatsApp number. So you can contact me in any way that you prefer. Okay, so I was very fast because I'm going overboard. So this is what I had to present. If you have any questions, please feel free to talk to me. Ask for clarifications now.
So one is a country name.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Expert. So anyone welcome to ask a question regarding the comments and also the proposal. Any questions?
I have a question about
Sure.
publication. You said each country would be at the end a chapter, right? So I was suppose that it would be a book of this kind of project. So where would this book be published and who are the readers, target audience?
Sorry, the last part, I was not clear of the last part.
So who do you target to be benefited from this report?
Yes, so the beneficiaries will be policymakers of different nations, and also anybody who's interested doing projects, doing various activities related to women empowerment in agriculture. And also now the way we started this was also with the this index, Women in Agriculture Index. So we are also trying to identify certain aspects that we would not be able to capture through these indexes, because we are going into more detail. So if there is any need to change, looking at the cultural context and all, it'll be helpful to them as well.
Okay, thank you. I don't think policymaker would read a book or even chapter. It would be like policy brief, right? So yeah, so I would think the benefited people would be just researchers as of now, the way you hope to do it.
And also
Researchers
too,
also, but yeah, that's true, if I may, Bayer. So because we are also talking about policy implications and all of that, I'm sure APO's intention is also the policymakers and their member countries. Because if not, if we are only targeting the researchers, we will not need to give recommendations as such.
Yeah. So I mean, if you provide like executive summary policy brief that integrate all these cases in 3-4 pages, that makes sense. But the whole book to policymaker, I doubt it.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's the intention of APA also to use for their member countries. Yes, over to you, Bayan.
And it will be published on APO website, and it
Yeah.
will be also we are planning to also extend those reports into the 21 member countries. And I'm sure the policymakers will see the report. Even we have so many cases, but the policymakers even wanted to have this report and again invite someone, or maybe this can be the next project we are focusing on. So I'm sure even I in the last year it's happening in Taiwan, there is a similar the project is happening face to face. So usually this research of this topic is one of the beginning of next big project, or more practical, more maybe it's hand-on. Even the policymakers is visiting each other's for member economies for seeing in practical ways like that, So I hope your reports will be will definitely publish on APO, and we will spend some budget to also extend our marketing for these publications to reach out to those 21 member economies as well, Thank you. So any more questions?
Yes, Philippines, Miss Lei had her hand up.
Please.
Hello, good afternoon again. I just want to clarify regarding the case studies. I admit I got a little confused about it because I was
Sorry, regarding?
regarding case studies.
Okay.
You noticed in my report, I'm missing that part because I was thinking of case study as part of the methodology.
Methodology, it's not a methodology. I have
Thank you
made comments on that, yes.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying things out. But I'm just thinking if I will be writing a narrative or a story of a selected for example for selected women farmer, how many do I have to write? You mentioned 10?
It doesn't have to be the whole story of the women farmer, maybe selected interesting parts of related to some area in the findings. You can write about 10 such small 100 to 200 word sort of small parts.
Because I only interviewed 10. That's the minimum number of participants, right?
So maybe one part from one each, some interesting part that each person said, maybe one had a very intriguing challenge that they spoke about. Or
Does it have to be about the challenges? Does it have to be
about challenges?
anything interesting about their story? Okay, I get that.
Related to 3.1 and 3.2. Related to their roles and empowerment, challenges, their participation in women organizations, leadership, anything on that.
Okay. And then with regard to experts, because I also included their real names instead of pseudonyms. I only write the pseudonyms for my women farmers, but for the experts, because I wanted to establish their credibility, so I included their real names and their designation. But if anyway, that's with consent. I asked them if they actually signed a consent form for that, stating that they are permitting me to write their real name on the report. However, if it's for uniformity's sake, maybe we can just make it uniform. I mean, if you're not really writing the real names, it's fine. But maybe the designation must be there, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
in order to establish their credibility.
Actually, how you have written it is good. Like the table that you have shown is good. Why I've said pseudonym is now even sometimes they have agreed. Unless you have shown them the transcript and gotten their okay. They might later on question, they would say, no, I didn't say this or whatever, and there can be an issue. So, but if you use the pseudonym, you sort of assure confidentiality or anonymity rather. So that would be better. But if you still want to keep the real names, that's fine. That wouldn't really make much of a difference in terms of consistency.
Okay, thank you. And then with regard to direct quotes, I was actually thinking of writing the direct quotes because that's how I write a qualitative report. I normally write a direct quotation to support the discussion. However, because of the very limited number of words, I just No.
I will.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
since
because
you mentioned that we really have to come up with that because the direct quotes are already there. I just put it in table so that it's,
Mm.
but yeah, maybe I will just do that
So
part.
in selecting the quotes, you don't have to put a lot of quotes. So whatever is more relevant to what you are saying, 1 or 2 quotes would be enough. Now, if you remove your thematic table, it will be easy for you to, I suppose, in a way to stick to you had the thematic table, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so if you remove that, the word limit would not be much of an issue, but still it will be. So we'll see how we can stick to, this. But I think, it's important that we have that part of it because it's a qualitative study. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But would you suggest that I remove the tables, the thematic tables?
Eh,
Yeah,
We
I
can
will just
put it as
write
the
it.
appendix, and I've also commented on the thematic table, how it should really be done. I will share that with you in the report I made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Bayar,
right.
can I say
So,
something?
sure, please.
This is Jose from the APO. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm supporting Bayar here, but I just want to address very important discussion earlier by Dr. Orachos about who will be the user or the readers of this research. I think that's a very fundamental question because why APO is spending money. So to answer very briefly, one is that the research result actually is, I think Bayar mentioned this, can be used by the APO in their project planning because you see that agricultural sector is one of the primary sectors that APO supports productivity improvement. Of course, there are many issues, and one of the issues that we are discussing is gender. And secondly is that like you yourself will be the one to promote your work in your country to your stakeholders. So I hope you take it like that, that while you are helping the APO coming up with this study, you are also promoting your scientific findings through this research to your stakeholders. That's why you are engaged as a national expert. So hopefully you will also look at it as your own benefit, and hopefully you can share your report to the NPO, the APO counterpart, because at the end of the day, the NPO will be one of the major stakeholders in promoting this work. So the APO is just a platform to facilitate and to guide. That's why we have these chief expert and national experts. But the ultimate benefit should be the stakeholders in the country. So I hope that we made it clear. So you're doing it for your own country, for that particular group involved in this study. And I think in the first meeting, Santi already explained that your research will be published. So there'll be a final output. And I think probably she showed you example. Otherwise, you can check in the APO website. So yeah, that's just my brief response to that. So I hope we
Thank you
take it
so
like
much.
we own this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jose, for sharing. My point is whether it's published or not, that's not a question. The question is how to publish efficiently so that the target people that you want them to understand
Yes,
benefit from this. It's not just whether it's published or not. It's
yes.
how we communicate with them efficiently. That is my point.
Yes, so as Bayar mentioned, there will be a promotional activity, and hopefully in addition to this social media or the APO way of promoting it, maybe we invite you as resource person to our project. I think Bayar was making connection to that, or the NPO in the country, FTPI or NPS would invite you if they have a session on the topic. So hopefully through that promotional activity, we can identify the users or those who will be, using our research. Of course, ideally it should be policymaker that will be reflected there. But yeah, that's one of our objectives in doing so. So sorry, I think I'm extending the time. Bayar, I'll turn over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jose-san. Thank you for the clarification. So if there is no any questions, can we move to the last session? Yeah. All right. So at last, on session 4, I would like to give you the brief administrational stuff. So what we have to see, what we are planning in the future. The first thing we have to see is the schedule, timelines of the project. So we passed the first 8 steps. Today is a second coordination meeting. You see it's a number 8. So by today, everyone should have submitted the report and also PPT. So if someone is not submitted the report, please submit it as soon as possible. That way we give the timing for chief expert, give you the comments. So which is only the 5th of March, due date. So for now, what we can do is from step 8 to 16, we have to see the one by one, the data and due dates of the steps. So you can also say your timing if you want to change some timing, but we cannot change any due dates before the step 8. For example, the next due date is by March 5th, which is the more due date for the chief expert. For example, she has to finish giving comments to each of those national experts by 5th of March. Then on number 10, after that, submission of revised report by national experts to the chief expert. So they have to, national experts have 20 days to submit their reports after the comment.
If I
So-
may come in, Bayer, I can actually give the comments by tomorrow or day after. So,
Sure.
so I've already gone through the reports. I'll just finalize them and send it. But Thailand or us report is to come late. So I will give that comments late after that. But the rest of the comments I'll be able to give before that. So they'll have more time for the submission of revised reports to work on the revisions.
So yes, thank you for that. And this is the due date. So thank you for giving the national experts for time. Then they're gonna have more timing for submissions of the revised report. So also number 11, you can see we have the discussions of amendments of necessary for change by chief expert and national expert one more time. And if there is again need to be changed, again, the national expert has to give the final report, which is on by 7th of May, 2025. Then after that, by 9th of June, we have to combine all reports, and it has to be as a one publications. So it will be combined by the chief expert, and final touch will be done by chief expert before the submitting it to the APO, which is on 16th of June. So, and also the 23rd of June, we will submit the first revised version of final report to the chief expert to APO. So then it will go to the copy and editing process. So this timing and due dates, please tell, now it's a time for final changing of those due dates if you want. So if not, so let's everyone raise a hand, and we can mutually agree to the due dates now, and welcome to say your if you want to change something. Okay. Yes.
If I may, I think I already communicate by email with some of the APO staff before. While you were going through all these timelines, deadlines and such, it was not informed to me when we received the contract or assignments, right? So you always say end of June, 30th of June is the project deadline. My assumption is that is my end of the time to work, not to submit it in 2-3 months and then have rooms for other steps. So this basically to me is miscommunication. This is the deadline for the whole project that APO has to manage, but it's not the deadline specifically to national expert. So in the future, if you want to make it clear for all these participants or experts, it's probably easier for us to know all these deadlines before we jump into the project, rather than we already think we're going to work on this, we have this much time, and at the end you have shortened our time and spent other activities to the whole period. This is my reflection.
All right. So any more comments? Yes, Philippines, Lee.
Hi again. just a clarification. What do we need to do on the 18th of April? It says here discussion of amendments necessary by the chief expert and national experts. Will there be a meeting? How do we do it?
Can you hear me now? Okay. So after the submissions of today, and there will be, the chief expert offered individual meetings with national experts. And after that, we don't have, again, this kind of group meetings again virtually. So it will be done by email. It's the chief expert giving you the comments, and you're gonna revise it and make it the final versions through the sending emails to each other. So
Okay, so
maybe
it's just
this is the
through
last.
email.
Yes, you're right.
Yes, I'm worried because here in the Philippines, it's the Holy Week. So it's the celebration of the Lenten season. So it's a Good Friday for us. So we have our spiritual obligation. So I'm afraid if there will be a meeting, I will not be able to attend. But if it's just through
No
email,
meeting.
I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Thank you. So any more comments? India, please. Kiran?
Yeah, thank you. I have one suggestion that our revised report we have to submit to the chief expertise by 25th March. Then after we can see still till 18th April there is a lot of time, But rather than that, if you give some more time to revise the report, that would be a good for us, because still again you can see, because a lot of corrections will be there, because now we have to go with the fully same format for all the countries, right? So for that we need some more time. So I feel that other than, I think, 25th March, we can extend that date for submission for the revised report. That would be good. Otherwise, again, it is because writing it will take time, because we need to ensure the other things also, right? To quality of writing, then whatever suggestions now today we have received. So that requires some more time. This is my.
Can I
Sure.
come in on that? So Kiran, what I think would be done is, so I will give you comments soon, and then you would actually, if there are more discussions that are needed, we will have that. So you submit the revised report by 25th March, but then your final report, you have till 7th of May to submit. So in between, if there are any discussions needed, we'll have that. Is that what you are, you want more time on that? Is that what you were suggesting?
No, I thought because revised submission we have to do it right. For that we can, because whatever corrections you might have told, so that for that is the basic one, right? Next part is only the additional suggestion you will give. The major suggestion, major revision part is this is the now the major revision will come. So what we have to do is, so next revision will be minor revisions. That's what my thinking, because for major revision if we give some sufficient time, so that we can address all the issues you might have highlighted. Minor revision it will not take much time, right? So major, this is the one where all the experts would need, I think they have to align with the same structure, right? So after that, whatever additional comments you give, that we can do it. So this was my opinion. For the, I think if you give sufficient time this stage, so next part will be very it will not take much time. That was my thinking. Okay.
So you would like to extend the 5th of March, right? I mean 25th of March. So usually it's, it's first, yeah, you were right. Maybe, of course, the first submission, this is the second submission after the comment. Now, the chief expert will give the comments maybe by tomorrow, she said. Then you're going to have around 30 days. So if you want to extend the first revised report due date, which is 25th of March, we can extend it now. So when is the best time would you like to recommend to us?
So that can be mutually decided because because discussion is on 18th April, you know. So my is whatever major suggestion will be now is the major part suggestion. So for that, I think that everybody can decide it. What is the date? So at least for that sufficient time, that would be good. I don't know now what would be the second date, but the supposed date it is 1 month. Maybe another 10 days we can have.
Okay, how about the chief expert? It's your
Yeah,
call.
you decide. You it's my suggestion only because
Yeah.
again,
So
I
give
Then I
have
have to go through 8 reports and give again, I have to go through 8 reports. Then I won't be able to meet the 18th April if it's delayed, if your submissions are delayed. So yeah.
May I add on a little bit about schedule? I think Thailand, also Cambodia, and I'm not sure if any other country from Myanmar last, but we have our holiday, New Year holiday from 13 to 16 basically of April. So if we can submit that before this New Year holidays, it might be good, or otherwise it has to be like after. And the 18th of someone mentioned 18th of April is also Holy Week in Philippines. So yeah, maybe we should take this into account about cultural events.
All right, so we can decide and put the date now, once we have a time. So since we are all here.
So really 18th April deadline is mainly for me. So for you all, if you submit by 25th March, you would not have, your New Year's would not be affected. My New Year would be, but that's not an issue for me. I can still, it's holidays for us as well, but that's fine with me. But if we then delay it, then we have to sort of take everything down. But then copy edit in the publishing date remains the same, isn't it, Baya?
Yes, you're right.
But yeah, let me help you. So if I may join in, yeah, so Jose again. So actually I understand that Bayar and Dr. Arosha came up with this suggested timing. Okay, and the purpose of this meeting is to review whether this timing is feasible to everyone. And we hear you about certain holidays, and of course, for the APO, the earlier the completion, the report, the better. So because I know your momentum will take a little bit slow if it takes time. So if I may suggest, yeah, because after all, if one will be delayed, it affects everyone also. That's the essence of this work as a team. So yeah, it's good to discuss like this, and later on Bayar will make follow up that this is the agreement. So if there is a need to change the timing, Bayar, I think it's good to do it now and let everyone agree on that, so that later when we make follow up, they understand what's the background of making follow-up. So I hope Dr. Arosha will somehow consider those suggestions. I know everyone is busy, I believe. Yeah, but yeah, it's better to have their commitment on the timing. I believe this is just our suggestion, but in case there are limitations because of whatever holiday they have in the country, then we have to take into account. But the message that, of course, the earlier the better. I think Dr. Orachos mentioned earlier that, of course, nobody thought that it will prolong like this. We thought that it can be completed in 3 months or in 2 months, actually. So I hope that makes sense. So it's good to put the agreed timeline here that everyone agrees.
I guess.
So that's my, yeah.
So
So maybe, so yeah,
about-
okay, go ahead.
So how about the adding seven days of all those categories? 7 days. So if one extended by 7 days, then all the due date will be extended by 7 days. Like that. What do you think?
I
Everyone?
guess giving the comments earlier by the Indian colleague, he said the second revision should be minimal, right? But we should give our chief expert sufficient time to review it. So 7 day, 10 days, he requested 10 day, and that would work. If that would work with Arosha, then I would suggest like April 4th or 5th, 10 days after the initial deadline, and then if that give you sufficient time before 18, which I think that's 2 weeks.
All right, so proposing 10 days for all those last 7 steps. So then it means the beginning of the March 25th, March 25th, last 10 days. So it's gonna be 4th of April.
Our proposal is not to extend 10 days to all these deadlines. It's only the gap between the second submission and the last.
Yes, because the first submission, the India, they want more days in the first submissions. I mean, after the big one. Then after that, the timing should be fine, because that's what I understand, right?
Yeah. That's what, only that
Yeah.
particular period you can have, otherwise rest time links you can manage. The rest time no need to extend all the time.
Then how about that? The adding 10 days for all starting from step 10. So we extend 25th of March by 10 days. Then
Yeah,
it
that
will,
we can.
then April 18th should be extended because we have to give the timing for our chief expert. Then after the submission of your the last submission should be extended. Otherwise, it's 28th of April and May 7 is only around 10 days. So we have to give more again some timing for the national experts, because you guys having your own works at the same time, you know. So we try to give you guys more rooms for, you know. So 10 by 10 days. So how is it looking? Everyone happy?
Good.
Yes. So
You know why? Because our contract said June 30th is the end of project, not 23rd.
okay. So if happy, then let's everyone raise a hand and we mutually agree the timing. Okay, 1 second. I close my sharing a bit and this is one last picture for us. Oh, you can raise any hands, you know.
Okay.
All right.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a moment.
Okay, it's done. Thank you so much. So let's move the last session. 1 second. Let me share the screen. All right. So I will change the old dates. If it's, you know, weekend, I will make it the day after the weekends. So I will send to you the last dates of what we agreed. So next, you know, it's about just the report submissions. You know, it's you guys know how to submit the reports and PPTs, and you submit to APO, and at the same time also you submit to the chief expert, and all will be CC'd to each other, and we have a we know what's happening at the same time. And for the administrative matters, now we're gonna follow up the project timelines as we approved all together mutually, and also we have to follow the APO publication guidelines. Again, before we send it to all those participants and the national experts, we will send the APO publication guidelines again. And also, you know, we have to really we have a really focusing on avoiding plagiarism in all forms, you know. For example, all those reports will be checked by Turnitin, and APO accepts similarity below 20%. So as long as it's 20%, and all the referencing citation has to be done in APO publication guidelines. And also, if you use any tables and figures or pictures, then if it's table and figures, please also submit as attachment Excel format. If it's a picture, please give us the original high pixelated formats, because it will be all publications. So we need the original and good quality pictures as well. And as you guys know, in a circular letter, you can see that there is a APO net link. So you can go and check all documents. So far, we will upload every single documents into the APO net. So please have a check, and even you can see other the reports from the national expert as well. It's in your circular letter and passports and APO net links. Also, I will send today's my PPT to all of you guys. And for APO citations and referencing style, it's very similar with Harvard referencing, but there's a little difference. So you can see that from the circular letter as attachment 5, and I will send you the APO citations and referencing style document again to all of you. And this will be after, after this, the first submissions of preliminary report. In APO, we will do check the plagiarism. Will be checked by Turnitin and give each of you the reports and how is it going. And if it's more than 20%, we will give you a chance to, rewrite everything and, fix some citations, add some citations and referencing as well, And again, so today is very fruitful, and thank you everyone for spending your time and fruitful asking questions and stuff. And this is the end of session 4 and today's event as well. Thank you everyone, and if anyone would like to say last questions or comments, it's welcome. If not, then we have to end this second virtual meeting. Any last comments, guys? All right, so bye-bye, guys, and wish you all the best, and looking forward to have a good publications soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Right, I will send you the PowerPoint and also communicate, copying to you with the national experts if one-on-ones are needed.
Sure, please.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's end.